you probably heard about All Family Pharmacy. They're fast, reliable, and committed to getting you the medications you need without the runaround. When everyone around you is sick and you know you have to be prepared, or when you don't want to wait in line for maintenance meds, you absolutely need All Family Pharmacy. They've got antibiotics, antivirals, Tamiflu, ivermectin. Order online at allfamilypharmacy.com/bill. Use code BILL10 to save 10%. On this Friday, the media in America is undergoing profound changes, and I will submit to you that most folks do not care at all. That's because hating or loving President Trump has literally destroyed press credibility in the country and overseas as well. Hello, BBC. Now, I make my living absorbing and analyze information, but I can't trust TV news in particular. Used to be I would turn on the morning network and cable programs. Now my TV set stays dark. I learn nothing from the early rising talking heads. Nada. They are either parroting ideological newspapers or doing 10 minutes of weather. Total waste of my time. It's not much better in the evening. The network anchors use similar scripts, make no attempt to provide any perspective whatsoever. The guy on ABC News, for example, says the word tonight dozens of times throughout every broadcast. We get it, David Muir. You're on at 6:30. Jeez. Ratings for all news broadcasts are cratering. The internet now dominating information flow. And let's face it, TV news is essentially boring. Is it not? Back in a moment. Bill O'Reilly here. If you are stuck in a timeshare you no longer want, my friends at Lone Star Transfer can assist. Over the past 15 years, the family-owned company has helped more than 30,000 owners break free from their timeshares. They'll provide a guaranteed solution to exit your timeshare. So please call Lone Star Transfer 833-594-0079 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Shan Gotsch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures continuously dropping throughout the day. Highs close to 13 degrees, but feels like temperatures below zero. Then into Saturday during the mid-morning hours, we're tracking widespread snow potential. That's going to ramp up Saturday night into Monday morning. We're going to be seeing some pretty impressive snowfall totals, making dangerous travel conditions widespread across the area before the cold and the snow pushes out as we head off into early portions of next week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shan Gotsch.
Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Are you ready? Yeah, we got that winter storm coming in. Temperatures are going to get ridiculously cold, frankly, in just about, 14, 15 hours from right now. There's no need to panic, no need to make a run on the grocery stores. We're going to get really cold temperatures. We're going to get some snow. Things are probably going to kind of go quiet for a couple days as all of us stay inside over the weekend. But other than that, we should be back to normal early next week. No reason to panic. Everybody's probably going to work on Monday unless the forecast changes even from there. So we will have the updated forecast for you here in just a little bit. All right, I'm Mike Ferguson. Happy Flashback Friday to you. Interesting discussion with Missouri House of Representatives Speaker Pro Tem. Representative Chad Perkins was on the program with us on Thursday. He's got a bill to kind of proactively get out ahead of what we're seeing all over the country, which is these protesters, as you know, we've seen it for years, blocking streets, jumping on cars, pounding on the windows, all that sort of thing. And what happens if they get hurt because of a conflict that they caused where they should not have been? Well, his legislation would address that, and it's causing a little bit of a buzz around the state. So here's what he had to say about that.
Am I going to get prosecuted for protecting myself and just getting out of there?
especially if somebody gets hurt.
Right.
Well, that's not fair. It's not just. So there's a proposal in Missouri to kind of preempt some of that. So what are the parameters that we're talking about? We're now joined by State Representative Chad Perkins, who's also Speaker Pro Tem of the Missouri House. And Chad, really appreciate you being on the program here. I saw this article on Missouri Net, and it really grabbed my attention because I've covered a few different stories where protesters have gotten violent and they've gotten aggressive and some of them have gotten hurt, and everybody then wants the police to do something when they're usually the ones who are out there protesting to attack the police. So what is it that you're proposing and what changes and how would that protect people?
Well, thank you, Mike. You're exactly right. The left is radicalized. Look what happened in Minnesota over the weekend. They walk right into a church. There's the picture of this little boy scared to death, holding onto his dad's arm, and the left just doesn't care, right? Whatever it takes to get their attention, it's how they do things. And so, hey, and you and I, we both agree, every American has a right to protest, right?
Yep.
The middle of the street is not the place to do that. And so when you're blocking traffic, when you're violating someone else's rights to be able to travel like that, right? You're the problem. If you're doing that, you're the problem. And you're right. A lot of us would be very scared to say, if something happens and I hit this guy, maybe not even on purpose, right? He's standing in front of my car. I'm trying to get through here. What's going to happen to me? Am I going to get arrested? Am I going to get charged somehow civilly with something? Or what our legislation does, very common sense, very reasonable. It basically says, hey, the road's the place to drive. It's not the place to protest. And if you get hit by someone traveling down the road because you're protesting in the highway, the person doing the driving has no criminal or civil liability attached to them. They're free of such things. And the fact of the matter is, someone can come along and say, well, what if somebody's walking across the street and accidentally gets hit? Altogether different situation, right? The totality of those circumstances are not the same, right? You purposely put yourself in there to block that traffic. I think all of the burden of proof is on you that somehow you didn't do something wrong.
Good morning, Chad. This is Susie Moore. So I'm going to put my lawyer hat on and play devil's advocate for a second and say, how are we going to distinguish in this legislation between situations where someone is acting, reasonably and within their rights as a driver versus, actually maybe intentionally hitting a protester or someone who's in the road? How do we draw that line?
Well, obviously, the police will have a part in that, right? If they're investigating it and say, it seems like this person intentionally did this thing, that's a altogether different situation, right? You don't have the right to intentionally hit people with your car, even if they're doing something ridiculous and stupid like stopping traffic in their protest, which is stupid, right? People come to the south lawn of the Capitol and they protest on the lawn all the time. I don't understand why. Maybe they hate lower gas prices. I don't know. But they do it, right? And they have a right to do that. The road's not the place for that to happen.
Sure.
And I think that those folks that are driving, they're innocent until proven guilty, and the burden is on the government to prove that they did it on purpose. That's just the way it should be.
Yeah, and I want to be, because I know there's no every situation. We can't go through every hypothetical, but in an overall general perspective, you got people who were stopped by these protesters. We're not going to let you through. And then would this cover somebody who says, all right, I'm nudging and inching my way through. I'm just going to go. Or does your legislation require any sort of agitation or violent or attack or contact? But if, Just Stop Oil or Antifa or Black Lives Matter or whoever, if they just line up and block the street and no, you won't go there. I have to get to the hospital. I have to get my kid. I have to do this. I mean, at some point, where does your legislation, where would it take over and protect somebody?
Well, I think it's reasonable for a mother driving her kids to school and the kids are in the back seat and someone is surrounding their car. It's very reasonable for that mother to be scared, not only for herself, but certainly for her children, right?
Yes, I agree. And
at that point in time, if that mother says, I've got to get through here to get my kids out of the situation, in my opinion, that mother did nothing wrong. It's the road. Get out of the way.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. You're winning me over with this, Chad.
Now, Chad, is this, speaking of winning over, is this something that you anticipate there will be some bipartisan support for, or is it something that the Democrats are just going to object to out of hand?
Yeah.
I don't mean to laugh at you, but come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I expect to get great support from Republicans, and Democrats are going to say whatever they're going to say, right? I'm sexist, I'm racist, I'm whatever. The same old arguments they make about absolutely everything, right? But the fact is, I think it just protects everyone who's taking their kids to school. Because gender, race, none of that matters. You're protecting your kids at that point in time. And, I don't expect to get a single Democrat vote. And you know what? That's okay. I don't need it.
Yep. Hey, Chad, I thought there was a bill or something passed a couple of years ago when the whole George Floyd stuff was going on. I thought this was brought up. Did that bill just not make it to the finish line? Because I remember talking about this on the show.
Yeah. No, I remember similar situations. Nothing has made it across the line to my knowledge that would do exactly what we're doing.
Got it. Okay. All right. So I saw the article on MissouriNet. The story is just Missouri legislation seeks legal protection for drivers during roadway protest. And of course, there's your picture right there on there. So they can say that we're visiting with Missouri House of Representatives Speaker Pro Tem Representative Chad Perkins. Okay, we just got a couple of minutes left here. Chad, when we did our show from the Capitol on the opening of the legislative session, Secretary of State Denny Hoskins stopped by and was visiting with us. And we talked to Denny pretty often through the campaign. I've known him for a while. You've known him for a while. Now there's a Democrat who wants to lay the groundwork to impeach him because of his decisions managing the referendum process. Give me your thoughts on this.
Well, I appreciate you asking. I had one of my staff members came in the other day and they said, "Have you seen the legislation from Will Jobe to impeach Secretary of State Denny Hoskins?" And I said, "Who's Will Jobe?" Apparently he's this freshman Democrat that hasn't ever accomplished anything, and this isn't going to be the year that he does, right? And the problem with the secretary is that, he threw out a bunch of names that had signed this petition. Well, the fact of the matter is, Mike, and you know this, if you're not 18, you're not voting age, you're not a Missouri citizen, you don't get to sign those, right? And so, yes, the Secretary of State did exactly what they're constitutionally obligated to do. They went and said, this person's 14, this person lives in Illinois, or this person lives in Kansas, strikes those names out, and they don't have the number necessary to get anything done. Why on earth would we impeach a man for that? I think we ought to give him a medal for doing what he's constitutionally obligated to do.
So you don't really see it going anywhere?
No.
Absolutely not. In fact, like I said, when Dave in my office said, "Have you seen this from Will Jobe?" I had to get out the yearbook directory and look up who this guy was.
Right.
Yeah, this ain't going anywhere.
So, Chad, on this measure that you're proposing, a timeline, is this something that you see moving out of committee anytime soon? What's our timeline looking like on it?
Well, we haven't got a hearing yet, but, I think it's time to start pushing that, right? We're working right now. I mean, we have these tax issues that are going to be front and center this year, right? And some of these things are getting sort of a jump. I actually have something that's got a jump. And as Speaker Pro Tem, I don't necessarily carry a lot of bills, but I've got something that's got a jump right now that's a good tax issue, right? So currently county assessors can assess commercial property at greater than 15% annually. Well, and you can't do that with a residential piece, right? Well, if you're running a business, much like running your own home or the state of Missouri is, if you don't know what your tax liability is going to be, it makes it kind of hard to predict, what your business is going to look like, right? So it just makes it predictable. It says, man, you can't get these incredible jumps every year. I've got friends who are tax assessors, but my goodness, I don't know. They seem to like their money. And of all the problems that face the state of Missouri, the government not getting enough of your money isn't one of them.
I'm glad to hear so many Republicans actually using specific language like you just did there, because for a long time the tripe is no more tax increases. We're going to cut your taxes, but it was all very, very, conceptual and kind of in the ether. But what I'm hearing around the Capitol right now from the governor into the legislature is very specific things. Like the governor said, I'm in the cattle business. If you keep giving them feed, they're going to keep eating. If you keep giving money to government, it's going to keep spending. And, you're talking about, hey, assessors love their money. These are very specific diagnoses of the problems at hand and not just ethereal. So I really like the development of that over the last couple of years, for whatever that's worth.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I think that's right. People are going to find the loophole to get that money, right? And it's funny because oftentimes when you do legislation like this, the only people that come out against it are those that are feeding off of it, right? The bureaucracy. And I'm a believer that the bureaucracy is the enemy of democracy.
All right, it's Flashback Friday. We got a lot of ground to cover, but we're going to keep a very, very close eye on what's happening with the weather. That is going to affect all of our lives starting tonight, but especially Saturday and Sunday. So we're not going to go too long without that update because that forecast just kind of keeps changing regularly. But every time they update it, the more it looks like we're going to get hit with more snow. So that update coming your way here in just a couple of moments right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
Enough. No drugs, no theft, none of that. Get all of that out of the country. The Democrat Party is gone. It hates the country. It hates the Constitution.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
They served our country with honor. Now it's our turn to serve them. Join the freedom13.org for an unforgettable gala honoring America's heroes, February 27th at the Foundry Arts Center in St. Charles. A special evening supporting Freedom 13's bold mission, 50 camps in 50 states on more than 50,000 acres, building 650 homes for veterans, police, and their families. Tickets and sponsorship opportunities are available now. Visit thefreedom13.org. That's thefreedom13.org.
This holiday season, bring the taste of Italy into your home. At DiGrigorio's, we've been helping St. Louis families celebrate around the table for over 50 years. From imported wines, olive oils, and cheeses to gourmet pastas, sauces, and specialty holiday favorites like panettone and torrone, our Italian gift baskets make the season easy and unforgettable. You'll find everything you need to make the holidays special. Experience a little bit of Italy right here in St. Louis. DiGrigorio's Italian Market. Visit us at DiGrigorioFoods.com.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit BlueOceanMediaGroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
It's more than a rebellion. When your teen is slipping into drugs or alcohol, when social media and pornography consume their time and their mind, when depression and even suicidal thoughts cast a shadow over your home, as a parent, you feel powerless. There is hope. At Turnabout Ranch, troubled teens step away from the chaos and into a clarity of nature on a working cattle ranch. Care for horses, learn responsibility, build trust, and rediscover purpose. It isn't theory, it's real work. Real therapy, real healing. Families from across the country have found transformation right here, just when they thought hope was gone. If your teen is struggling with addiction, harmful online behaviors, even weight management, call right now and get the help you all need.
800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. That's 800-219-2494.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, the answer is yes, get ready, but let's relax a little bit, St. Louis.
It's going to be cold enough, but we need to chill out for now.
Let's relax just a little bit here. It is 5:49 going on 5:50 here. Okay, so we're going to have the updated, we're going to keep the updated weather forecast going because, I mean, just from hour to hour, it keeps changing. But the storm is close enough now that we know to expect. We knew about the cold temperatures, but we're talking about a lot of snow. I mean, it's gone from, we might get a little bit, back on Monday, but keep an eye on it, to, no, we're going to get some snow. Well, now we're talking about, I don't know, some forecasts say up to, 8, 9, 10, 11 inches of snow. Other forecasts say, well, it could be 3, 4, 5 inches. Either way, we're going to get a lot of snow. Okay. That is zero reason to panic. Okay. There's not. We know what's coming. Originally, the forecast was for it to start tonight. It looks like it's not going to start till tomorrow morning. Now, the stupid cold temperatures are already on the way. Temperature's going down now. It's going to be in the single digits here within another couple of hours or so. Yeah, and it's going to be 0, -1, something like that by late tonight. So I've already seen some of the. Have you seen some of these Facebook pages like the new Real St. Louis or the Real New St. Louis or something like that? And then there's some of these that are just kind of like independent, almost vigilante journalists, and they just live stream and just roll around town. A lot of it's in the urban core and that sort of thing, North County, North City. And it's interesting because every once in a while they'll go do something and put the camera on something that mainstream media doesn't. So they're definitely, these guys who are running this definitely, obviously have a different worldview than we do. They're definitely sort of left to center kind of thing, which, you'd expect. But I've actually been able to track a lot of stuff that's going on that, the mainstream stations have not been covering because they're out there doing it just like on an independent street level basis.
Yeah, that's the blessing and curse of social media right now, is that there are quite a few people that are doing legitimate, and I'm not talking like major exposés, but they are shining the camera on things that often get covered up or overlooked by mainstream media, and it's allowing people to have a better understanding of their community, but then there are the people that are trying to just make a name for themselves and sensationalize everything or misrepresent things as well. Yeah,
I think it's more of the overlooked. That's what I think, because the reality is that, the big media stations, and most of us have moved out to the county now. We got the hell out of the city, so I think a lot of it is we're not there. We don't see it. And unless something big and bloody and gory happens, we're not rushing in there to cover it. I mean, that's just the way that it is. So, but it was funny because it was, and I forgot, is it the new Real St. Louis or the Real New St. Louis or one of those? They were just running a camera along one of the grocery stores. I don't remember which store it was. And there's already been some runs on like the bread shelves and the dairy. And I'm like, we're going to be back to normal by Tuesday, everybody. Maybe Monday afternoon. I mean, it's not the end of the world. This is not a snowpocalypse. It's going to be a lot of snow, but relax, okay? Now, some things to keep in mind. I got a text from my internet provider. I got a text from Spectrum. And they said, hey, just a heads up, because of the storm, our service could be affected. We anticipate there might be some outages of internet service. And basically they're saying, if that happens, don't call us, call your utility. So that was preemptively like, it's not our fault. I don't know. I guess that could happen because of the extreme cold, but we're not talking about ice. We're not talking about sleet. We're not talking about something's going to pull down lines or anything like that. We're talking about a fairly dry, fluffy snow. Now we're going to talk to Chance again around 7:05. But we're looking at, yes, it's going to be a big deal. But if you use just a little common sense, it's not a big deal. Just relax. And that means, once that snow really starts hitting, it means don't take the extra chance. Just don't.
Now, you did confirm that MoDOT was pre-treating the other day.
Yes.
So at least there's that if you do have to be on the roads. But as Scotty, our law enforcement friend, said, emergency assistance vehicles are just as susceptible to snow and ice as the rest of us are. So don't put yourself in a situation you don't have to be in.
Well, so yesterday, early afternoon, there was a big press conference with MoDOT and the Highway Patrol and some others. And so I watched that. It was, 20 minutes or so. And they were going through, basically MoDOT is trying to preemptively CYA right now because of the debacle of the last couple of storms. And so they were out there, they were saying the right things, and they did confirm. They said, we started on Wednesday pre-treating some of the roads. But they and the Highway Patrol have all been really, really clear. When you get to temperatures at this level that we're going to have starting in just a few hours, actually, there's only so much that ice melt and those because at some point they become ineffective because they're only expected to work till about 25, 20 degrees, something like that. When it gets lower than that, especially around zero, it may help a little bit, but it's not going to keep everything ice-free, because what happens is when the snow falls and we're driving over it and over and over and over it, it obviously gets mashed down into kind of that slush, and then it freezes over. So even if we're not getting ice, if they don't keep the roads clear, it becomes ice because of us driving over it. And, we're going to get a couple waves of this storm. So if MoDOT stays out there all over the place, we can prevent a lot of this. But at the same time, that means we need to stay out of the way. Just don't go anywhere if you don't have to starting tomorrow.
So there's still a chance that we can voice some outrage if they don't follow up on that.
Yeah,
but as of right now, it does appear that they learned the lesson from last time and that they're taking it more seriously.
Yeah, and also because I want to be fair, I've been really critical of MoDOT, but to also be fair, this first wave that comes through tomorrow, tomorrow morning or tomorrow midday, whenever it's going to hit, and Chance will have the update for us here in just a little bit. But the second round of this is the one that packs a wallop. They are not going to be able to keep up with that snowfall, period. They're not going to be able to. Now, after it tapers off Sunday, they will be able to get that cleared. So if things aren't cleared, sometime by, Monday, we have a right to be critical again. But when the big bulk of this falls, don't complain. Let them do their jobs. Stay out of the way. I mean, that's really... part of this is on them. Part of this is on us as well. That's just something to do. So if you want to run some errands, grab a couple things, best thing to do it today and then relax and enjoy the staycation. And besides, it's the weekend. It's not really going to change our lives that much.
Some nights you sleep fine. Other nights you're lying there thinking, why is my mattress trying to ruin my life? If that sounds familiar, Snooze Mattress and Wellness in Chesterfield is here for you. Right now, save $300 on Tempur-Pedic and up to $600 on Smart Life by King Coil, the mattress that might actually be smarter than you before coffee. No appointment needed. Just walk in. We'll run a quick sleep assessment and match you to a system that finally treats you right. If you're ready to stop arguing with your mattress, come say yes to better sleep. Snooze Mattress and Wellness in Chesterfield. Sleep restored, life renewed.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Speaking to David Stokes, Director of Municipal Policy at the Show Me Institute, tell Chris and I about Waymo, these robo-taxis.
That is pretty obvious, that these cars are much safer than human-driven cars. And much like I like horses, I like humans.
Dave, my God, man, they're killing cats.
I'm not an expert, but I do believe in the history of America that probably some human driving a car has also run over a cat.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. That's 800-439-7851.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Or from Town Hall, I'm Rich Thomason. From New Mexico to New England, people are hunkering down for a big winter storm, packing snow, sleet, freezing rain, and bitterly cold temperatures. Exactly what you get depends on where you're at. In any event, it's expected to last through the weekend. In Atlanta, hardware store manager Lewis Payne says he cannot keep ice melts in stock.
We had about 275 to 300 pieces, individual pieces, and it's all gone.
Backup generators are another big seller.
Bought a Honda 3200 watt generator. Have been looking at generators for years, and it seemed like this was a good time, being that we have a storm coming in and potentially power going out.
Roughly 160 million people are under a variety of watches, warnings, and other winter storm alerts. Tens of thousands of pro-lifers will be on the march today in Washington, D.C., the annual March for Life.
Roe versus Wade was repealed almost 4 years ago, but march organizers say they'll keep holding the event in hopes of cultivating a culture of life in the country. Hundreds of thousands of children continue to be aborted every year, and abortion pills are proliferating in all 50 states. March for Life says their goal is, quote, not only to change laws at the state and federal level, but ultimately to make abortion unthinkable, unquote.
Correspondent George Williams. Visiting Minneapolis, Vice President Vance says peaceful anti-ICE demonstrators have absolutely nothing to fear from the Trump administration. But if you storm a church or assault a federal agent, Vance says, we're going to use every single tool we have to bring you to justice and put you behind bars. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures in the red. The Dow futures down 98 points. NASDAQ futures off 29. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Listen carefully. This isn't noise. It's not hype. Silver is moving. And when silver moves, it moves quickly and without warning. Smart investors already know this. Most people don't until it's too late. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 to get your free gold and silver rollover kit, a $49 value just for calling. History is clear. When the gold to silver ratio tightens, silver doesn't creep higher, it explodes, often outperforming gold by multiples. Right now, most Americans remain dramatically underallocated to precious metals, even as central banks around the world are aggressively increasing their gold reserves. History shows precious metals have performed best when interest rates move lower while inflation stays above target. You don't need perfect timing. You need to be in position before the move finishes. Call 800-900-8000 now. Find out about a tax and penalty-free rollover in 2026. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000 now. That's 800-900-8000.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Chance Gotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures continuously dropping throughout the day. Highs close to 13 degrees, but feels like temperatures below zero. Then into Saturday during the mid-morning hours, we're tracking widespread snow potential. That's going to ramp up Saturday night into Monday morning. We're going to be seeing some pretty impressive snowfall totals, making dangerous travel conditions widespread across the area before the cold and the snow pushes out as we head off into early portions of next week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, folks, Jamie Allman here for Newsteader's Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend, wowdiamonds.com. It's Wow Diamonds for a reason. These are beautiful lab-grown diamonds. They are gorgeous. They will blind you when you walk in and see them, but that's a good thing. Great engagement sets, wedding sets, all these beautiful God-created gems, sapphires, rubies, you name it, garnets, and also all the gold you need, and the famous bull of a watch, wowdiamonds.com.
This is News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton, and we're proud to be the official winter weather source for News Talk STL. The First Alert Weather Team is working hard to keep you ahead of the big weather changes and help you plan your day. So stay connected this winter with Channel 4 and News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson.
Is there anything in your life that is not trauma Olympics?
Susie Moore.
Get out of here and stop playing victim.
Get up, St. Louis.
There's no crying in baseball.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, I'm going to say this is very, very, very calmly and measured. Take the storm seriously.
Okay.
You know, we tend to around here like, we've seen it all before.
Sure.
Is there ice? No, I'm fine. Okay, not quite that simple here, but don't freak out. Don't panic. Okay, we are going to keep you updated throughout the morning on what is headed our way, and I think more importantly, when it's headed our way as well. Okay, so some nutcase leftists who stormed that church, they're now in the beginning of the find out stage of things.
They sure are.
Ooh, this is interesting on this, and we have to ask the question now. Was there actually any monkey business in St. Louis earlier this month or not? Now there are questions.
Was it a hoax?
Well, I don't know. All right, 6:06 right now. Let's go ahead and get started with the news dump here.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news. The morning news dump.
Okay, so this is what we're keeping an eye on. And by the way, the temperatures are already dropping.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's colder now than when I got in about 3:15 today. And it's going to keep doing that.
Correct.
Yeah. Going to be down to right around 0, maybe -1-ish late tonight. At some point, it doesn't really matter what the number is. It's just bone-chilling cold.
5 or 0, both cold.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But the winter storm almost here, and it looks like the St. Louis region is going to see 2 waves of snowfall, okay? So the first one is going to start, it looks like early tomorrow morning. There may be a couple of flurries late tonight, but really, as far as the snowfall, tomorrow morning through the midday, then there's likely to be a pause. Now, these are the last forecasts that were issued. We're going to talk to Chance Gotsch again in about an hour, and he likely is going to have something updated for us. But that after that pause, then the big one gets there. And that's the one that's going to dump a lot of snow on us. Through Saturday afternoon, it looks like now through maybe Sunday midday-ish, maybe a little bit long. We'll get the update from Chance in just a little bit. Governor Mike Kehoe has a very simple message for Missourians after declaring a state of emergency.
Please, if you can, stay off the road. Let these men and women who know how to get the roads safe for our families do their work.
Okay, so the current forecast is calling for, we could be looking at 7 to 11 inches of snow by Sunday afternoon, evening.
Yeah, that's crept up from where it was.
It really, has. And it's funny, we were just looking at a map of the storm itself, and it's literally covering 2/3 of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, and into Mexico.
Exactly.
Places that don't get winter storms. This is one of those things where every once in a while, we as a species are reminded how small we are.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other parts of the country that are going, I mean, people, I hate to put it this way, I'm just telling you that there likely will be people killed by this storm.
It's entirely likely,
Yeah.
especially with the ice. That's
Right.
what gets really
Right.
dangerous because you're talking about very treacherous roads if people are out, and also, power outages, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
If we have any utility issues, it'll be because of the temperature, not because of the ice. So,
True.
Our friends in Arkansas and Georgia and Tennessee and Texas, they're more likely to deal with that sort of ice type of thing. We just have to deal with a lot of snow and some wind and very, very cold temperatures, which causes its own kinds of problems.
things that make me wish I had a backyard I could just let my dog out into.
Yep. All right. Former special counsel Jack Smith defending his investigations of President Trump, at one point candidate Trump, but President Trump, at a congressional hearing on Capitol Hill.
Appearing before a House panel, Smith testified that he had acted without regard to politics as he led Trump investigations into 2020 election interference and misuse of classified documents. Both cases were dropped. Smith told lawmakers that Donald Trump willfully broke laws in a bid to keep power and that no one should be above the law in our country. But Republicans blasted Smith, accusing him of conducting politically motivated investigations. Greg Clugston, Washington.
I mean, it was just a big friendly discussion. I think they all went out to lunch after it.
It wasn't quite like that.
No, it was not.
A little more
they had to bring in the
contentious.
Capitol Police to get in front of a couple people, like
Well,
the former police
That
officer.
was because Michael Fanone decided
Yeah.
he needed to be a jerk.
It was pretty tense. They had quite a standoff there.
Yeah, and I don't know what was said by the other person. I'm not going to excuse that guy either. But Fanone
He was aggressive.
very, and he is he's been a big. A big player in the drama surrounding that, and I feel like, I'm not saying that he wasn't distressed that day, but I feel like he's really leaned into that, let's just say.
Yeah, so I think we all knew that the battle lines were drawn before this hearing happened, and that's the thing is, yes, we need the hearings, but I don't know that much was accomplished other than the soundbite factory.
No. And that's the thing with the open hearings anymore. It's all about them getting their 5-minute clip and getting a minute clip out of it that goes viral. And
yeah.
Okay,
let's follow up on the arrests of, now we've got 3 of those protesters who stormed the church,
including the what's his name, woke farmer,
whatever his name is. He is the guy that. Because I'm not one who was ever going to call for violence, but if anybody has a really punchable face, it's this guy.
He was the one that you heard on the video making all of the
right, and which I was going to play some of the video, but that's going to be a lot of bleeps I'd have to edit in. It really just wasn't worth it.
No.
And so he's like, "Come get me," and the DOJ is like,
Okay,
sure, yeah, we can do that." So now that 3 of those protesters have been arrested. Minneapolis attorney Jordan Kusher is representing one of them, Nakima Levy Armstrong, and he was speaking to reporters. And you're not going to be surprised to find out he is not a fan of these arrests here.
This is not a legitimate prosecution. This is a political persecution.
You go. All right. FBI Director Kash Patel says Armstrong's arrest was a connection to a violation of the FACE Act, which prohibits interfering with the exercise of religion at a place of worship, in addition to banning interfering with like abortion clinics and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, on the face of the FACE Act, the actions that they partook of on Sunday seem to be in violation of it.
Yeah, and I will say that Homeland Security and DOJ, they seem to really enjoy doing the perp walks on these.
They do.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
No.
And we'll get Tim's take on this, Tim Jones's take on this in a little bit. They're acting surprised that these actions have had consequences, and they're going, "How dare you?" What kind of worldview do you have that you?
Because for years they haven't had consequences.
That's true. Yeah. All right. We may not get another government shutdown, so at least the House is doing their part. House Speaker Mike Johnson says the House has voted to approve all 12 appropriation bills to fund the government. Those are now headed for the government. There are 8 days left before the government funding deadline on the 30th. So we're not quite back in shutdown season, but we're close to it. We're in the spring training for the shutdown season. So Speaker Johnson says once the package is passed and then obviously signed into law, Republicans will have replaced the last of the Biden-era spending levels with Trump-era spending levels.
We've spent less. We've saved more taxpayer dollars. We've codified efforts to remove waste and fraud and abuse. We've advanced a full budget that provides real teeth and delivers the America First agenda, just as we promised that we would.
Okay, so this one covers defense, transportation, housing and urban development, health and human services, labor, education, and homeland security.
Yes. I mean, I am pleasantly, I'm not going to say surprised, because I thought that the House was probably going to be able to do it. But when you consider they have basically a 1-vote margin.
Yep.
And this is the first time in 29 years that the House has passed everything in regular order.
Wow.
Let that sink in.
You got to, whether you like or dislike Mike Johnson as Speaker, And there's legitimate critiques and accolades depending on the day. Can you imagine trying to herd the angry cats that is a narrow Republican majority right now in an election year?
No. And if you don't like Mike Johnson, what is wrong with you?
Oh man. So
I'm sorry,
yeah.
but he's like one of the most likable characters on the face of the planet. Now, you may not like everything that he does, but he's done a pretty bang up job with one of the most difficult roles.
Remember when we had that big mess of trying to see who the speaker was going to be?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sitting there going, who would want that job?
Mm-hmm.
Why would anybody want that job?
And he didn't start out vying for it. It was kind of like everyone started looking at him like, well, Mike,
how about you? Yeah.
He was
because Jordan was a lightning rod and, that sort of thing. And Scalise, which I thought was going to be the guy, but, we'll see how it goes. Okay, were there monkeys on the loose in St. Louis or not?
Jerome?
I am gaslighting all of you to believe that there weren't, and you're not allowed to check.
Right. Okay.
My establishment to see if they're there.
So weeks after a city health department official confirmed a primate sighting, saying that at least one was seen by a police officer, because that's what everybody was going on, the city said, no, we have a confirmed sighting. And it was a police officer. Well, now the police department tells reporters they can't confirm that. So one police official said the first time he heard about the supposed sighting was on the news. He said, none of my officers reported it to us. So the short answer is we have no idea whether the monkeys were actually out there or not.
And whatever happened to the goat?
Yeah, the goat's getting the short shaft in all this.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, the poor goat. So maybe there were monkeys out there, maybe there weren't, but the city can't communicate with what's going on. It's like, listen, we were told by a city official, nope, we've had a confirmed sighting. It was actually a law enforcement officer, so we know it's there. They did press conferences. Here now to handle it. We sent the pictures over to the zoo. The zoo says it's these kind of monkeys. So we're like, well, were there monkeys or not?
I'm going to blame the Mandela effect.
Okay.
I think, do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think we're living through a Mandela effect in real time.
In a monkey sense.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and your personal information might be on that list. Protect your identity with LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every single second and alerts you to the threats you could miss yourself. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to work to fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Make this season about joy, not identity theft, with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
An official message from Medicare. Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the Morning.
It's not really a morning show. It's more of a dance party.
Yeah. It sounds like what? Sheila E. Oh, it's Prince.
You're cheating.
I didn't see it until I started to say Sheila E., which that was
Well,
the
she
groove.
was part of his band
I know,
anyway.
that's what made me think of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't recognizing the song, but I was like, the beat sounded Sheila E.
This is a little more of a deep cut.
Yeah.
This wasn't like one of the, Prince had, what, 400 albums?
I don't know.
Something like that.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but this is a little more of a deep cut.
Yeah, this is 17 days.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I didn't recognize the song. I just recognized the beat.
Well, the thing, too, is that since I've been listening to more 80s music because of the show, I discovered that there are so many amazing songs that just never got that mainstream popularity at the time. So maybe we need to put some more deep cuts in.
We're culturing
I was just going to say, we were acculturating Jerome.
Okay, just one final thought on the whole monkey story there. Okay, think of it as like, your third, fourth, fifth grade kid who's starting to question. It's like you really want to believe in Santa Claus. You just don't know what the evidence says. And that's kind of where I'm at. I really want to believe. I want to believe.
Yeah.
And I've been promised that they were real.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they are.
Why wouldn't you?
I know, but there was a photo that was clearly not a AI thing. There was the actual photo out there.
Seemed to be of one behind a car.
Yeah, which appeared, and there was a Missouri plate, and it appeared to be it looked a lot like North City. I mean, let's just look at that way, the buildings behind it and everything. So I want to believe, and the police didn't say no, there weren't. They're just saying, well, we can't confirm. We don't know what he meant when he said a police officer confirmed a sighting. That's all they said. So maybe there were, maybe there weren't. I don't know.
Well, if this was a big hoax and there were no monkeys, whose monkey bit me when I tried to pet it?
There you go. That's right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But hey, the memes were on point.
Oh, and they still are.
Yeah.
They're still doing great. All right, so let's take a couple minutes here and just the whole region is looking at the storm. The whole country is looking at this storm, and so you got to have that balance to using the common sense and not panicking. Being ready but not panicking, because remember, this whole thing is going to be not over because we're going to have snow piled up for weeks, but we should be back to normal by Tuesday.
Yeah.
Maybe even Monday night. I mean, us three, it may be a little tricky getting into work on Monday.
It might be.
But here's where we're at. So it is going to be a big storm. We're going to talk to Chance Gotsch from KMOV Weather here in about 45 minutes with the update. But here's what we know. What we know is that very cold. We've been warning you about that. So take care of, obviously, your critters and check on people who might be in a situation where, they could be in danger of being in too much cold or anything like that. But one of the things that I saw on that press conference that the Highway Patrol and MoDOT was doing yesterday when I was watching that is they say, if there's even a chance that you're going to try to drive somewhere while the storm is hitting or anything like that, have some kind of emergency kit in your vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So have a blanket, have some bottled water, have a granola bar or two, have an extra, cord to charge your phone or whatever the case is. Just a few basics. Think about what's the worst case scenario. You slide off on 170 or you slide off on, whatever. You slide off on anywhere, 94, I don't know. And you're going to be stuck there for a little while.
Yeah.
So make sure that you've got just enough there. The best thing to do is not go, but you get an emergency call, you have to try whatever.
I'm like right on the border there of, do I go down to the shelter tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be okay until.
What time do you usually go down?
Well, I have to be there at 7.
Yeah,
and then I'm there till between like 9:30 and 10. So it might start while I'm there. I'm going to have to kind of keep an eye on the hour to hour because I'd be coming back from Pacific to St. Peter's.
Right.
So it's a long haul.
Yeah. See, me and some of my teammates are supposed to practice at 2:30. I'm a little.
That's probably not happening.
I'm a little more iffy about that. I'm starting to think, we want to get our work in, but I don't know about that.
Right.
And so yours is probably, and again, we'll talk to Chance in a little bit. The snow is supposed to start up in the morning, and the first round is supposed to wrap up around noon.
And if it's just starting to snow, I should be okay.
And they're talking a couple inches.
It's going to be dry snow too.
Yes. So let's check with Chance here in just a little bit. So the best answer is just don't. But like for instance, they also were saying make sure you got not a full tank, but at least have enough gas.
I filled up on the way in today.
Yeah, I'm doing that on the way out.
Yeah.
Today, just to do that because actually that cold can create some moisture that actually could freeze fuel lines.
Yep.
So
I got a full tank now.
yeah. So do that. Remember the ice melt on the roads may not work or not work as well.
Right.
Because of that. Another reason on Saturday, if you just don't have to go anywhere, it's just not worth it.
My mom has already promised she's not going to try and go to church on Sunday.
Yeah. Do they do streaming anyway?
They do. I don't know who will be there on Sunday if it's as bad as it's supposed to be. But I don't know if the minister just gets on.
The pastor may just get a cup of coffee and set up a phone in his
he might.
In his living room.
They went to that mode during COVID and they still offer that. I think so.
Yeah, a lot of churches still do.
Yeah.
Okay, then there's a thing about your home, and you were kind of perked up because you were not aware that you got to keep track of the pipes. You can't do anything about the pipes outside of your house, but the pipes inside your house, make sure that, especially the ones up against the walls.
Yeah, if they're on an exterior wall, then keeping the cabinet door open, and then keeping the water just dripping
just a little bit.
It goes a long way towards keeping that from becoming an issue.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say I knew about the water trick because of working in fast food for so long, but keeping the cabinet doors open, I would have never thought about that one.
Yeah.
And some reports are saying if you have like washcloths or something, try to wrap
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
anything you can do to keep some of the water moving and then keep the heat for the pipes so they don't crack and burst.
None of mine are on exterior walls, so I'm not as worried
I've got
about
one.
it. Yeah,
one that's on an exterior wall, but just the one, just the kitchen one's on exterior, but that's it.
Now, I also want to point out, because this happened to me this morning, when I went to go turn my vehicle on to let it warm up, it did that little flicker. So make sure you check your battery
Check your
connections.
batteries.
Yeah.
Well, and there'll be a whole lot of people whose tires are low after this.
That's true.
That's
true. I just had my car service this week, so mine should be okay. But I always hate that when you get that warning. You're like, is it just because it's really cold, or do I really have a problem?
And it really is sometimes because it's really cold. And a lot of service stations, they'll come in and just top off the air for free. They won't. My advice, because I've done that with a place that's nearby, and I'll just like, hey, can I do a tire check? They'll do it, and they're like, oh no, it's free, no problem. Well, give the guy a little tip.
Yeah,
give him a couple bucks. Just say it.
Can I tell you a real quick grocery story?
No, okay.
Grocery store story.
Yes.
Okay, so I did my regular shopping like on Monday, so I'm fine. But then last night I was out for dinner, and I was like, there's a couple things I wouldn't mind having on hand, and I know since I am going to be like stuck in for a day and a half or so I stopped by Deerberg's. And it was what I expected. It was a madhouse.
Yep.
Now, the good thing was, and the woman offered me her cart. She's like, do you want this? Because it's a madhouse in there. I'm like, no, I actually just need a basket. I'm good. But it was just, madhouse of people. Not a problem with that. I expected that. And everyone was actually being pretty pleasant. What threw me was that there were a bunch of empty shelves, not because everyone raided the bread aisle, not because everyone was getting their milk, but because they were in the middle of rearranging their store.
Oh, that's just bad luck. That's bad
I'm
timing.
like, are you kidding me? Like the coffee was 3 aisles over from where it normally is. The juice was 2 aisles over. And I was like, this is my store I go to 3 times a week. Like I know where everything is. And I'm like, this is the wrong time to be shifting around your inventory.
Oh, yeah.
So that just threw everything into
Yeah. Okay. So another part of this that I didn't actually think of, and then somebody referenced this, I don't remember if it was that press conference or somewhere else, is know where your shutoff valve is for the water. Now, if you live in an apartment, you may not have one.
Yeah, I don't have that option.
But most houses or townhouses or condos, you've got one master shutoff valve for the water. So if you have a pipe that does burst, it's usually bright red too. You go in there and just turn it be 90 degrees, and you shut that off, and then you stop.
That is good info to have.
So just know where that is just in case. Because honestly, if there's any like big trouble or problems, that's probably it.
Yeah.
That's probably what it's going to be.
Well, we experienced that at the old station.
We did? That's right. And that was like Christmas Day or Christmas
it was right
after
over the
Christmas.
holidays.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if the whole place flooded. I mean, it was crazy back when we were at Union Station. I didn't forget about it, but I'm glad you reminded me about that.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Now, Kathleen is saying that they are completely out of bread when she stopped at the store last night. So if you are listening to us now saying, I need to get stuff to insulate my windows to generate more heat, or I need to stock up on stuff, might be a little too late already.
Well, I mean, I don't understand the run on the bread. I mean, the run on the food. I know people are doing. I know Kathleen's telling the truth. I know but I'm like, St. Louis, this isn't that big of a
Here's
deal.
my theory on it.
This isn't the time to panic. This one isn't that big.
Here's my theory on it.
Yeah.
We live in a culture and a society now that doesn't do a lot of home-cooked meals and a lot of family time together with meals, which is kind of a bad thing.
It's a very bad thing, yeah.
But because of that, when people who are used to grabbing whatever's fast food or grabbing something real quick from the grocery store on their way home from work or kind of like piecemealing it, realize, okay, we're all going to be stuck in the house together for a day and a half, 2 days. That's 6 meals. If you don't have some like kind of game plan for that with like stuff that you can fix for multiple people, then you're kind of in a little bit of a bind. So I think that's the mentality going into it. Not that they're going to be snowed in for a week, but just that that's not the stuff that we normally keep on hand right now. And I would like to have it so I can feed my family.
Right. Yeah, because I'm thinking. I mean, I don't think that Saturday afternoon practice is going to happen.
Oh
for me.
no, I don't think so at all.
I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm going to get all day Saturday. I'm going to get all Sunday. So I'm going to go. I just have a couple things I'm going to grab from the store. One of those is like that kind of I treat myself to a nice, cool. It's a very healthy breakfast. Don't get me wrong, but like with a big bell pepper and all that. So I may grab one of those just for fun, just to do that.
Sure. But you better grab it soon.
Yeah, I'll do. I mean, it's Friday. I'll be out of here.
Well, that's true.
My weekend starts in about 5 hours.
Oh, shush.
So I'm just saying. So
Must
basically,
be nice.
it's just not that hard. Just relax at home. It's not that big.
Use your common sense.
Yeah,
don't
just
panic.
Don't panic. Yeah, don't panic.
Now, color me shocked though. A Missouri lawmaker actually faces consequences for something. We've got that story for you at 6:35.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Chance Gotsch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures continuously dropping throughout the day. Highs close to 13 degrees, but feels like temperatures below zero. Then into Saturday during the mid-morning hours, we're tracking widespread snow potential. That's going to ramp up Saturday night into Monday morning. We're going to be seeing some pretty impressive snowfall totals, making dangerous travel conditions widespread across the area before the cold and the snow pushes out as we head off into early portions of next week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. And of course, for dessert, I get a giant chocolate chip cookie. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Are you searching for an excellent new vehicle or a great deal on a used one? Then check out Tyler Trineri Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Tim Jones here to tell you what loyal Tyler Trineri customers already know. Every new vehicle and select used ones come with an exclusive lifetime warranty. And Tyler Trineri has a service department second to none. I should know. I've been a loyal and happy customer for years. For the best price, selection, and the amazing lifetime warranty, check out Tyler Trineri today, right off Interstate 44 in beautiful Pacific, Missouri. Online at tylertrineri.com, tylertrineri.com.
Connor Roofing, you can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Why are you going to work? It's Sunday.
It's a brand new show on News Talk STL. JC's Sunday Showgram.
Sunday mornings, we tell behind-the-scenes stories. This week, it's the time a blizzard trapped a bunch of us inside the radio station for 4 days without provisions. Also, one of the biggest debacles in St. Louis television history that included Saturday Night Live, all brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
Sunday mornings, 7 to 9. Then podcast each Monday on NewsTalkSTL.com. The Vic Porcelli Show.
We'll hear some of the comments from Jack Smith. If you remember, I originally said I don't like his face, and I was right. With Commander Connors Friday at 9:25.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
See, the song about Billie Jean, one of my favorite parts of that song is that's one of the best bass lines
Oh,
ever.
yeah.
I love that bass line.
Talent, talent, talent.
Yep. All right. The left is counting on mainstream Americans to buy into their extremism.
Okay.
It seems to be the case here. Seems like a bold strategy for 2026 because honestly, the Democrats probably have electoral opportunities if they were use a little common sense.
Yeah.
But they may be saying, common sense? No.
Well,
haven't we met?
Common sense is racist.
That's so true. We're now joined by Tim Jones. Obviously, you hear him every afternoon here. Tim, let me start, though, in the Missouri legislature. I want to get to that. I want to get to that bigger picture thing. The Missouri legislature, they've actually voted to, the House, rather, to sanction one of their own, Representative Jeremy Dean, back when just so people understand, this goes back to the redistricting debate that was happening. And he actually shot off a text to one of our area state representatives it was just gross. I mean, it was disgusting. But the woman that he targeted with it was particularly the wrong target as well for a variety of reasons. I mean, it went from just being gross and cruel or gross and stupid to absolutely cruel with her. Give me the background of what happens next with Jeremy Dean.
Well, Mike, good morning. Good morning, gang. And by the way, I'm speaking with you live from deep South Georgia, where I may just stay for the next week or so, given everything you were just discussing in the last segment. So everybody be careful. Everybody be safe out there. And I was supposed to come back on Sunday, which may now not happen until Monday. So that's okay.
That ain't happening.
I'll be all right. Somebody's got to do it, you know. So Jeremy Dean sent some really disgusting text messages back during the last special session, making sexual references to of course, who do Democrats go to? Well, they have TDS. So it was a very inappropriate, crude reference. I'm not going to describe it any more than that. It's morning radio, people.
Right.
Come on.
Yep.
You can go look it up, involving Donald Trump, and he directed this at Representative Cecily Williams, who we know very well. She's from our region, Jefferson County. Now, there was an extra wrinkle in this, and a very serious wrinkle, in that Representative Williams had been the victim of sexual assault and abuse many years ago. There's an axiom in the law, and this is not a negative thing at all. It's a truism. Susie knows about the eggshell plaintiff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Susie, you take your people as you find them, right? And so you're not supposed to be mean to anybody, and there is actionable actions for that in civil court. So I'm talking more on the civil side here, but Jeremy Dean, it doesn't matter. He has to now deal with the consequences of his really gross behavior towards someone who does have. Now, it would have been bad enough if it had just maybe had sent it to a guy or something. That's bad enough and may have been actionable by itself, but it was especially traumatic for Representative Williams. And you take people as you find them, basically, is my point here. And if they have issues in their past that make the situation worse for them, well, then you have to deal with that too. And so he's just a horrible human being. Let me put it that. Number one, he's a Democrat, so maybe this is I'm being repetitive here, but he was sanctioned by the Missouri House in I think the vote was 138 to 10. Mm-hmm. I'd like to know who the 10 weirdos are.
Well, I did look, and all 10 are fellow Democrats.
Well, of course, no surprise there. So the punishment will include removal from committees, mandatory sexual harassment training, so maybe he'll learn a thing or two about the world and life and how to treat people, and a requirement feet away from Representative Williams. She thought that expulsion would have been warranted in this situation, and other people have probably been expelled for less, so she probably has a good argument there. But they did not give the ultimate remedy, but he has basically been ostracized and told to go sit in the corner and think about the consequences of his actions, which I don't know if he's even done up to this point.
Tim, do we have a sense as to why he singled her out to begin with? And then second part of the question is, what does that say about Democrat leadership in the House if one of their members thought that this was an appropriate way to interact with their colleague.
You know, I don't know why Representative Williams was singled out, other than, this was September the 4th. Oh, remember the sit-in? This was involved with they were doing a sit-in and protesting the redistricting. Maybe it was because she was on the committee that was considering. Maybe that was just the first person he thought of. Representative Williams was on the elections committee.
Gotcha.
They were considering what to do with the initiative petition process. So we were doing redistricting and we were doing the initiative petition reform back in last September. So, and it was actually not one, but two messages. One complete with, I think, a photo of some sort. I mean, so that's about all the details I know. I don't know the ins and the outs and the behind the scenes on this, but as to what it says about the Democratic Party, I mean, look at the Democratic Party today. They're a disaster. From Minneapolis to crazy California to absolute bankrupt New York, where anyone with any common sense is trying to get out of. The Democratic Party is a dysfunctional party of lunatic leftists. Now, they're not all bad people. We shouldn't paint with the broad brush either. I mean, look at someone like U.S. Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, trying to be a voice of reason in his party. And there's a few other people like that. But, for everybody who thinks that Donald Trump is a guy who's a brawler and gets in the gutter and mixes it up, all he's doing is responding to what Democrats have been doing for the last 30, 40, 50 years. And I'm not saying two rights make a wrong, but you can't constantly fight fire with gasoline, right? Or fight fire with a piece of paper. You're going to lose. And so Republicans, yes, have engaged in some of these brawls now, but it's only because the Democrats have been, and I'm sorry, Democrats have, not all Democrats, but some of their worst offenders, the leaders of the pack, have been this horrific for decades. And you would think that maybe that we wouldn't have had to go through this whole ethics committee system, and maybe they could have stepped forward and said, you know what, we're going to offer to punish him on our own. But they did let the process play out, and you did see that the vote was pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, we're visiting with Tim Jones, of course, here every afternoon right here on NewsTalkSTL with Chris Arps. Let's talk about that brawling, okay? Let's go to the national scale here. Obviously, they've been brawling with Donald Trump for a decade or more here, but now it's 2026. Democrats have an opportunity to make gains. It wouldn't take that much for them to flip the House, but you've got Democrats who can't even denounce swarming a church on a Sunday, and you've got them not wanting to denounce what the most basic common sense and decency fraud, illegal aliens who've committed massive crimes, that yes, there's a need for this. And then obviously, defending, what happened last Sunday. I mean, that's been a lightning rod. What is that disconnect to where they're going to demand or try to ask the middle, the independent, to support them in these upcoming elections, but they stay on the fringe, and not just the fringe, but this affinity for the violent part of their fringe. I mean, they can't do that, but still, let's not discount the possibility that they could actually at least take the House again after 2026.
Right. Kind of two different questions there. If the House does flip, I don't think Democrats should have some kind of ticker tape parade, right? Because, Mike, as you referenced, it is a razor-thin majority right now. The districts, there are, if you look at the 435 seats in Congress, I think it comes down to like 24 seats in the entire country, because there is a giant mass of seats that are, for the foreseeable future, going to be red. Same thing, that are going to be blue. There is a very nuanced, narrow middle, right in the middle, maybe a couple dozen seats, maybe less. So that's how polarized and partisan the country has unfortunately become. So, if the Democrats happen to flip, force, a net of 2 or 3 seats, well, then they take the majority. Simple math. But it's not something they should celebrate, because every time we see Democrats get it back into power, they don't stay in power very long, do they? Because they don't have ideas, and what ideas they seem to have are bad ideas, and they're acting out all these horrible bad ideas as you referenced, right now in real time. And they need to decide, are they going to get back to their roots, right, of being the party of the upwardly mobile working men and women of this country? They seem to have cast that entire voting bloc aside and decided to throw all in with criminal illegal aliens, which is, for the life of me, I cannot understand. Democrats, we need to start taking at least the leaders of today's Democratic Party, take them at their word, right? They believe that criminal illegal aliens are more important and a higher priority than actual American citizens. They believe that causing crime, chaos, and catastrophe in our inner urban areas is more important than maintaining peace and stability because it fits their destructive communist Marxist ideology of revolution, right? They believe in bankrupting the country, having America lead from behind. They don't believe in America first. They don't believe in American superiority. We really are the world's only remaining superpower. And it's almost as if Democrats are ashamed of that. And so while their leadership continues to pursue the leftist of the left, it seems like people like John Fetterman are simply lone voices crying in the wilderness. So I think people really need to understand this is not so much a choice between partisan ideology anymore. It's really a choice at least on the national level, and sometimes filtering down to the state level, a choice between one major political party that actually believes in the last 250 years of our nation's history and the foundational, the good stuff, right? Yes, we've got our sins and our warts and our problems, but there's one party that believes that America's best days are ahead of it and that we can continue to pursue the more perfect union. And there's another major political party that wants to tear it all down and destroy it and, literally burn it and call it a mostly peaceful riot.
Tim, even with that razor-thin margin, the House did manage yesterday to pass the last of the fiscal year 2026 appropriations bills, something that they haven't done in almost 3 decades. And that heads to the Senate next week. I don't know if the Senate will do it or not. I'm going to guess they probably will. Once we get past that hurdle, what do you think the Republicans in Congress need to do to shore up their base and to ensure that they do hang on to both houses?
Got about a minute and a half.
Yeah, Susie, that's a great question. And what they need to do is they need to trumpet this from the rooftops and say, hey, folks, there's one party in this country that are the adults in the room. Look at what we just did. As you referenced, for the first time in nearly 3 decades, how embarrassing is that? For the first time in 3 decades, which is embarrassing, but on the other hand, we finally stopped it. We're back to regular order. We're doing something that every American family has to do every single month, and that's balance their books and remain within their budget. The Democrats have no desire to do that. You saw that during COVID. When we handed all the reins of power to the Democrats, we saw what today's Democratic Party is. It's an authoritarian party. It's a tyrannical party. It's a party that has zero fiscal discipline, doesn't care whether or not we're considered to be important on the world stage or not, and would rather just throw open our borders wide and let an invading army of criminal illegal aliens come in. So I think, Susie, what people need to, if this all happens and this all occurs and the budget does go through, the Republican Party needs to not just move on. They need to tell the American people what they've done. They need to tell the American people how great the one big beautiful bill was. They need to look at the GDP growth. So our GDP growth, I think this week was announced at 4.4% for the third quarter. Do you know what the entire European continent's GDP growth was, same time frame? 1.2%. I mean, there is a governing political party, the Republicans, with all their problems and warts, and I've got plenty of criticisms for them, but they seem to be the only party that actually, once again, like I said, wants to be the governing adults in the room. And the Republican Party's philosophies are the ones of safety and security and peace and prosperity.
All right, Tim Jones, hear him every afternoon with Chris Arps, including this afternoon here. Tim, thanks so much, and enjoy being a little farther south. Of course, I'm going to go farther south than you're going, which we'll tell everybody about on Monday. And I'll probably come back next week, but, I may stay where I'm at given where things are going.
Yeah, Mike, being down here where it is about 58 degrees and sunny today, started to rub that in. You're going to be maybe 30 degrees warmer than that.
Yep.
You may not. You may just want to wait till April.
Don't put ideas in my head, Tim. All right. Thanks so much, Tim. We'll talk to you soon.
Well, while Mike and Tim brag about their warm weather exploits, we're dealing with the cold here. We're staying on top of the weather forecast for you, and we're going to have the latest on that in the news dump at 6:50.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
Love the all-new app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey, Jamie Allman here. When your car needs attention, trust who I trust. Benchmark Complete Auto in Valley Park. 25 years as a family-owned and operated company, Benchmark is your Napa Auto Care Center for nearly every maintenance and repair, using the latest technology and top-quality parts. Need help with the bill? Well, ask about Napa's Easy Pay financing. Mention Jamie Allman and NewsTalk STL and get 10% off. BenchmarkAutoRepair.com, BenchmarkAutoRepair.com.
SR1 Sundays.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Kaiser. Be sure and check out my show, Straight Lines, this and every Sunday at 8 p.m., right after Stand and Fight, part of SR1 Sundays. Let's meet right here and let's peel back some layers of this crazy world, and you might be surprised at what we find. Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on SR1 Sundays at 8 p.m., right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on News Talk STL.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Okay, Jerome, just a little history lesson, what it was like back in the day. And I have a feeling that Susie is going to confirm this from the other side of the male-female divide here. A lot of us guys couldn't stand Duran Duran.
Jealous.
Wow.
You know why?
Jealous.
Why?
Girls loved them.
That's exactly it. Every
Simon
girl,
Le Bon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every girl had a crush on everybody in
Nick,
Duran Duran.
God, I can't remember all their names. Simon,
Yeah.
Nick. That's going to take me a little while to come up with them all. But
And then they got older, and then later we're like, oh, it was pretty good music. We just didn't like them.
it was.
Because
they
all the girls swooned over them.
They were New Kids on the Block way before New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to keep you updated on what's happening in the storm. The basics right now. Then we're going to talk to our friend Chance Gotch from Channel 4 here in just a few minutes. Some of the nutcase leftists who stormed the church now going, oh, there are consequences. Okay. And also the Blues back on the ice tonight. 6:52. Let's run through a quick news dump here.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks.
The Morning News Dump.
Okay, that winter storm almost here. The temperatures are already dropping, so we're getting the first part of that Arctic part of this. We are going to see basically 2 waves of snowfall, and we're going to have the updated forecast here in about 8 minutes. The first wave of that starts tomorrow morning, and then there might be a pause. Unless the model has changed, which, again, we're going to find out in a few minutes here. But the biggest part of the storm is likely to be Saturday midday/afternoon through Sunday afternoon. Governor Mike Kehoe has declared a state of emergency. He has a very simple message.
Please, if you can, stay off the road. Let these men and women who know how to get the roads safe for our families do their work.
Okay, so once again, that updated forecast coming your way here in just a little bit. Some of the last models we've seen put us in that 7 to 11 inches category.
Yeah. You know, I've been here an hour. We've dropped 5 degrees.
Yeah,
It's down to 12. We're getting close to single digits.
Because I think it was 2021 when I came in at about 315
no more.
or so. Yeah, and it's just steadily dropping, like a rock. All right, Attorney General Pam Bondi, of course, among those announcing that 3 of the protesters who mobbed that church in St. Paul, Minnesota, have been arrested. Minneapolis Attorney Jordan Kusher is representing one of them, Nikema Levy Armstrong. He was speaking with reporters in the Twin Cities. He says, this is just a bunch of crap.
This is not a legitimate prosecution. This is a political persecution.
They got their hype people in the background there.
Shame.
Yeah. All right. FBI Director Kash Patel says Armstrong's arrest is in connection to a violation of the FACE Act, and part of the FACE Act prohibits interfering with the exercise of religion at a house of worship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, this is the FO part of all of this.
It is.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Council on Criminal Justice report finding that murders are down 21% in 2025 nationwide.
Yeah, there's a big drop.
Yeah.
In some of those serious crimes.
The FBI is criticizing the media for not giving them credit, with Director Kash Patel saying that 200% more arrests might have something to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Former Deputy Director Dan Bongino calling out the media. He was on Fox's Hannity last night.
Never arrested some child predator or some bank robber or some gang member. These morons don't know anything about the safety status of the country. The border's sealed. The military's never been stronger.
Yeah, it's pretty vintage Dan Bongino right there.
It is vintage Dan. You do wonder how much, there have been a healthy number of deportations in this past year.
Right.
What effect has that had on the crime rate?
It has to have had some effect on this.
I would think so.
Yep. Okay, so the nationwide data rate for homicides expected to fall to 4.0% or 4.0 per 100,000 residents. That would be the lowest rate ever recorded in law enforcement or public health data that dates back to the year 1900. So it's significant.
Really? So we've got good GDP.
Mm-hmm.
We've got good crime stats. We've got a sealed border. Okay.
Yeah, but other than that.
I mean, all right, whatever.
She just did the back of the hand up. Whatever. Saying. All right, let's see. Let's go to a couple sports things here. Battlehawks. We got their schedule released.
Oh, okay.
So Battlehawks are going to start their season at home.
Okay.
That's the good news. The bad news is that game 1 of the 2026 campaign is against our nemesis, the DC Defenders, who kept beating us last year. Except for that game where both teams had their third string everybody out there. But Defenders were not easy on us.
Turn that trend around.
Yes. Okay, so game 1 is going to be Saturday, March 28th. That is an 11 a.m. kickoff game. This one's going to be broadcast on ESPN. Let me just put this out there. It's a day game, so it's okay to go downtown for that, to the Dome.
Yeah.
But 11
There's no
a.m.,
reason not
it's
to.
going to be on national television. So this would be the one to send that message, Battlehawks fans. Let's go ahead and fill that dome.
I've been to a Battlehawks game. They are fun.
So much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun. All right, the Blues road trip continues tonight in Dallas. They've had a few days off. They play the Stars. Puck drops at 7 o'clock for this one. You can see the game on FanDuel. Normally, I'd say, just go out to your favorite sports bar. And it's going to be cold. Just turn it on. Just turn on FanDuel. Just do that.
There you go.
42% of Missouri fourth graders can barely read. 42%. It's the worst result in 20 years. If kids can't read by third grade, they fall behind in school, and many never catch up. But other states have provided a roadmap for success. Missouri needs one universal reading test for all third graders and one clear statewide standard for what it means to pass that test. A struggling reader who still can't read after extra help and a second chance at the test should repeat third grade with some exemptions. We also need to end the outdated 3Qing method, which encourages guessing instead of reading, and require teachers to be trained in the science of reading. In Mississippi and Indiana, test scores jumped up dramatically after these reforms, and Missouri can do the same. Missouri children deserve to become confident, capable readers, and strong early literacy reforms can make it happen. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by the Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Jim Talent, former U.S. Senator, did Pete Hegseth commit a war crime in your opinion?
No. My only concern is that we're not getting enough drug boats. It's the first effective thing I can remember we've done to strike at these cartels, not only to take out particular shipments of drugs, but to deter others. And I'm not going to cry crocodile tears for any of them.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. Because truth matters.
Let's speak that truth.
Because understanding matters.
Let's break this down.
With all that's happening.
And it's happening a lot faster.
What matters most is...
the only question that matters here.
Are you informed?
Important issues that are facing this country.
Depend on us.
The latest events.
The information you need.
Here are the facts.
When you need it.
We always have great conversations.
You guys have a great radio station.
101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Some 160 million of us are under some kind of winter storm advisory, watch, or warning as that massive storm cranks up, preparing to march from the southern Rockies clear across the country up into New England. Heavy snow, sleet, freezing rain, and bitterly cold temperatures are in the forecast. What you will see depends on your location. Reporter Kristen Hall's location is on the road in Nashville.
Transportation workers like Austin here are already out pre-treating the roads. Forecasters are warning about heavy ice and snow accumulation that could cause dangerous travel conditions as well as long-standing power outages.
The severe weather expected to persist right through the weekend. President Trump's announced framework for a plan to control Greenland is being hailed by a member of the House Committee on Foreign Affairs. On the Salem News program this week on Capitol Hill, Texas Congressman Keith Self addressed the Greenland issue with host Tony Perkins.
Is this going to be a part of the missile defense system there in Greenland?
Undoubtedly, because that's the northern route, the Arctic route that the missiles will come. So you're going to have an expansive road because we say it's based on Iron Dome, but Iron Dome is a very short-range missile that Israel developed with us. Golden Dome is going to have to be much higher, much longer range with a much wider reach. So that's why Greenland is so important.
Congressman Self's complete interview will air when This Week on Capitol Hill is broadcast starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Saturday on the Salem News Channel. Pro-lifers are pumped up. They're ready for today's 53rd Annual March for Life in Washington, D.C., going from the National Mall to the U.S. Capitol and to the steps of the Supreme Court. Wall Street this morning, stock futures in the red. The Dow futures down 84 points. NASDAQ futures 29 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Listen closely. If your retirement funds include an IRA or 401k, this matters right now. The stock market is at an all-time high. The dollar is under pressure. Interest rates are heading down. And leading economists are warning that the global financial system is changing. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 right now to get your free gold investment guide, valued at $49, plus your free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Investors across America are turning to gold and silver with Advantage Gold. Right now, silver is flashing a signal you can't ignore. Silver prices have been rising sharply, and history shows when silver moves, it can move fast. Learn more before this window closes. Call 800-900-8000 right now to get your free precious metals rollover kit. Find out about a tax and penalty-free rollover in 2026. Gold and silver can surge when the economy shifts, and they don't wait for permission. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Gotsch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures continuously dropping throughout the day. Highs close to 13 degrees, but feels like temperatures below zero. Then into Saturday during the mid-morning hours, we're tracking widespread snow potential. That's going to ramp up Saturday night into Monday morning. We're going to be seeing some pretty impressive snowfall totals, making dangerous travel conditions widespread across the area before the cold and the snow pushes out as we head off into early portions of next week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotsch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Mark Harder here, and I'm inviting you to kick off the new year with me at Alloy Personal Training. I joined last year and have been blown away by their approach. At Alloy, each session is different, so I never get bored, and they never have more than 6 people in a class, which allows me to get the attention I need from my personal trainers. Right now, Alloy is giving away free 14-day trials with 2 locations in Baldwin and 1 in Wildwood. Visit alloypersonaltraining.com. Hope to see you in my next session.
Looking for insurance you can truly trust? Since 1986, Bauer Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses across Missouri and Illinois. Owner Cindy Blanton doesn't just offer one quote. She shops all the top carriers like Progressive, Travelers, Safeco, and more to find you the best rates. Whether it's your home, auto, toys, or business, we've got you covered. Visit us at Mid-Rivers Mall in St. Peters or call 636-812-2001. Bauer Insurance Agency, the company that protects, the name you can trust.
Mike Ferguson.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
Susie Moore.
They should not be part of polite society.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Yeah, I just mentioned Susan and I were talking, maybe I said it on the air. I said, every once in a while there's like a big weather thing that just reminds us how small we really are as a species. That we don't have the control of the things around us that we think we always do. No. And it does make a big difference. And that's what's happening literally right now as those temperatures are dropping as we speak. Joined now by Chance Gotsch, our friend from KMOV Weather. All right, Chance. We chatted yesterday, and you even made it clear then. We're saying we're still tightening up what this forecast is going to be. Now we know we're in the zone that's going to get some significant snowfall. So are we looking at a 1-2 punch with that pause between it, or what is the kind of the chronology of what we can expect here?
Yeah. So you mentioned a little bit about that cold. We're already cooling down right now. We had our first cold front pass through. It's a drier one. So that Arctic air is coming through. So today the main story is going to be the frigid temperatures. From here on out, we're going to be hard-pressed to see anywhere getting above that 0-degree mark for the feels-like temperature throughout the rest of the day. But then when we talk about the snow, we're just over 24 hours out from about the initial start time. So we're looking about mid-morning, so closer to 9 a.m., depending on that dry air that comes in. That first 1-2 punch, kind of like you just kind of met us with there, will start close to about 9 a.m., that first punch will go until about 9 p.m. But the news is that first one is going to be a lot lighter. So we're looking at about 1 to 2 inches of snowfall accumulation during that time period. That is not the main one out of the system, but when you combine that with the cold, it's definitely going to be dangerous, especially if you slide off or anything like that with it being that frigid. But the main punch is going to come from about 9 p.m. Saturday night, lasting all the way through about noon Sunday. That's when we're looking at the bulk of this snowfall, looking at additional 6 to 10 inches on top of that 1 to 2 inch we see in the morning. A lot of that starts to taper back off, but not until about noon to about 8 p.m. during the afternoon hours Sunday. That's when we could see up to an additional 1 inch, but it really starts to fall back off. So, most of that snowfall is going to become to the region Saturday night, lasting all the way through until about Sunday at noon.
Okay, I'm doing a little napkin math there, Chance. So we're talking 11, 12, 13 inches of snow in total?
Yeah, so just kind of to give reference on the area for that, we have our updated snowfall maps this morning. Me and Matt Chambers worked really hard kind of going through here because we're continuing to see everything still pulling further and further north. So when we talk about a east to west line, an imaginary line here, going from Sullivan to Festus all the way to Nashville, Illinois, and south, that's going to be the biggest area. So we're talking southern Jefferson County on the Missouri side of things, 8 to 13 inches plus going to be possible there. Just north of that line, all the way to about Bowling Green, this is including pretty much most of the metro here. We're looking at 7 to 12 inches possible. So anywhere from 7 inches to about a foot going to be within realm for the system as we look off towards the upcoming weekend. Excuse me.
And Chance, it sounds like that first wave, as you said, is just going to be like an inch or two to start things off. Then we get a break, and then that's when the real heavy snow comes later. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it'll be very light at times. There might be some areas that do see that initial break during the Saturday afternoon hours. But with that said, because it's such a frigid, cold atmosphere, we've been talking a lot this morning. This is the type of snow where, one, it'll blow back on the roads if they clear it, and also with the temperatures, that pre-treatment doesn't work too well for the melting. But also, whenever you start to drive on this snow, if you guys ever think about maybe you pull your car onto your driveway and you pull it back off and you notice it compacts really well. Well, this is that type of snow, so it's going to get pretty slick, even to 1 to 2 inches in some areas as we look off into Saturday afternoon. But by Saturday night, recommendations at this point, it's going to be dangerous. We're telling people if you can, unless it's an emergency, probably be off the roadways until at least we head off into maybe Sunday night, maybe Monday. But even then, we're going to be having some issues with this much snow being cleared.
Yeah, okay, so Chance, I mean, we're trying to tell everybody, listen, don't panic. We'll be back to normal probably by Tuesday when they have time to go through all the streets and everything like that. But if we got to get those last-minute errands done and we're like, okay, we're going to stay in on Saturday, what's really the time frame we should be looking at to, if we want to run to the store and pick up the whatever and that sort of thing? How should we kind of plan the next day or two?
Yeah. So today, honestly, I would say this is the best case scenario is you don't have to go out at all tomorrow. You could just have a nice little staycation at home, just because once that snow does start to fall, it's going to be an issue just because you compact it more and more you drive on it. So best case scenario is you get out today, you get everything you need to get done so you can be cozy, watch some movies this weekend. I don't know, maybe have a little hot chocolate movie night with the family. Saturday, though, we're going to be looking at, hopefully you're going to be done if you have to be outdoors at all or driving, hopefully by the mid-afternoon hours at latest before we start to see things potentially ramping up.
Now, Chance, where's the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of temperatures starting to kind of ratchet back up and get us maybe into some melting even of this?
Something that allows us to be human again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I'm still looking. I hate to say it, I'm still looking for that light. I've actually adjusted the totals down a little bit more. Yeah, we're looking at temperatures below freezing throughout this upcoming weekend. Tuesday, we do get closer to the 30-degree mark. We're not seeing too much in terms of widespread sun, so not looking at much melting. But then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, where temperatures are closer back to the teens, overnight lows back towards the single digits once again. So we got a while. I mean, I got to look at the extended forecast, and when I talk about that, I'm talking 8 to 14 days away to see what that trend looks like. But the next 10 days, I don't see a single above freezing temperature for the afternoon high yet.
Okay, well, by then, I don't care because I won't be here anyway. I'm out of here.
Shush, Mike.
Okay, all right.
It's not nice.
I'm just saying, I'll tell everybody on Monday, I'm just going somewhere that's not like that. All right, so Chance, obviously, the KMOV app, you got the weather on the social media, everything. So hopefully everybody's tuned in and checking that because you guys are, this is being updated pretty much constantly at this point.
Yeah, especially as it continues to move north. The good news is the one low-pressure system we've been waiting to get on actual board here, which is going to be now making its way through Southern California. It's now on land, which the good thing is that means we have a lot better data because we have a lot more systems that can manage that. Plus, the hurricane hunters actually went out just yesterday and got some information. So our models are going to have a lot better data, which is actually helping us kind of close in a little bit better on the timing for the system and what we're going to be expecting in terms of final snowfall.
All right, Chance, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chance.
All right.
He's not my favorite guest.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. It's not Chance.
He just delivers bad news.
He's the messenger.
He's
the messenger right
news.
now.
Be nice.
You know what? We need to make sure that we have him on sometime when we have a lovely day of weather,
right.
just to kind of balance it out, because it's not fair to him.
Yes, I've been teasing this. So Monday, I'll tell you where I'm going next week, but it ain't where the snowstorm.
Straight to hell. Straight to hell.
Oh, I won't. It won't seem like that when I'm there. That's for sure. Just saying. All right, so but here, so let's talk about the time frame on this. Mm-hmm. So you're probably okay to hang out with the doggos.
Yeah, I have to play it by ear. If I get up tomorrow morning and there's heavy snowfall, then that's gonna cut that in. But it sounds like what'll happen is I'll get down there, freeze my rear end off for a couple hours, and maybe be driving home in some light snow. So I'm gonna probably chance it unless something changes drastically.
You're gonna be fine, Jerome, for Randy Tobler's show.
Oh, yeah. I come here rain or shine, so nothing's going to stop me.
Yeah, so not my early afternoon to mid-afternoon baseball practice,
That's a little iffy.
That's it. It sounds like it's possible, but I don't know. Dan, I'm going to text you here in a little bit, man. Just let's talk about this.
I have to commend Mother Nature, though, because she is ensuring. I'm in the middle of a massive, decluttering,
Yes.
reorganizing project at home, and she is making sure that I get through much more of it over this weekend because I'm not going to have anything else I have to do.
See, that's another thing. Today or like tomorrow morning, that's the time to get all the trash out if you got to take it out.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you use a dumpster, so it's not sitting around your house next 2 or 3 days.
That's a good point.
Little stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, don't panic, but just understand you got to hit pause for a little bit.
I wish my dog understood those things. She does not understand when we go out that I'd only want to be out there for 30 seconds. No.
Right. Do your thing and go, 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 go.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll survive it.
Yeah. So, and of course, get your freaking pets in.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand people that keep pets
No, I don't
outside.
either.
Unless you're out like on a farm. I don't understand why you keep outside animals.
If
but
you've got a big fenced-in area and your dog likes to run around, okay, I can get that.
you don't keep them out
but
there,
you don't keep them out there. Some people have cats that are indoor, outdoor, or
my
whatever.
grandma had outdoor cats, but she had a farm.
Well, that's
so those,
different,
They
though.
were they weren't even real pets. They
No,
were
those
kinda
are
like,
those are
they were
mousers.
barn cats.
Yeah, they were mousers. That's what those are for.
Yeah.
But yeah, so cats, dogs, goats, monkeys, whatever it is, just bring them in.
Get your monkeys inside.
That's right.
Hey, I can attest to this. Bar fights happen. I can attest to this firsthand. But one is making the news, and we're going to tell you why at 7:20.
Stop right now before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Mike Ferguson in the morning
I like it, but they're going a little overboard with the dancing.
on News Talk STL.
On the next.
Larry Connors, USA.
Today's story behind the story when the U.S. Army targeted St. Louisans with a toxic chemical.
Larry Connors, USA.
Now, weeknights 6 until 8
on News Talk STL.
Chris Cooper here, Serenity Wealth Management. Make sure to tune in this Sunday right here on News Talk STL for the Serenity Wealth Now show. We are featuring special guest Adam Gable of Red Zone Technologies. We're going to spend a little time talking about cybersecurity and data protection in today's fast-paced world. So tune in, make sure you understand what data scams exist out there and how to protect you and your loved ones and your data. Tune in right here Sunday morning, 9 a.m., News Talk STL, or on Serenity Wealth Now's social media outlets.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
The 80s. Never been a decade like it, never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
Aha is one of those bands that should have been bigger.
They should have been. That video alone should have,
groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Even back then, because you think about the technology that we had back then, that was like set MTV on fire, that video. And still to this day is a good video.
Have you ever seen and it's from it might be 10 years ago, this guy doing a slow,
I did see
acoustic version of this song.
It was remarkable.
I mean, this is like a bubblegum song. You don't really think about it, but like hearing him do it that way, it was haunting.
Yeah. This band and then their band Berlin should have been bigger than that. Berlin was pretty big in Europe. But yes,
good stuff.
Good Flashback Friday stuff. Just kind of meat and potatoes Flashback Friday stuff today.
Warms the soul.
Okay, so apparently there was a bar fight in Lincoln County now.
I had nothing to do with it.
Okay, fine. There's one that Susie didn't have anything to do with. So why is this news? Because bar fights happen, as Susie knows.
Yeah.
I will explain that in just a moment here. There's an unusual twist on this one. All right, so it looks like we're going to have plenty of time to get caught up on reading this weekend.
Yes.
When you're inside. So, Susie, what should we click on at RedState today?
This is the RedState Rundown.
Yes, indeed. Plenty of time to catch up on your reading, so definitely make an appointment with RedState. Right now, if you go, you're going to see an article from Rusty Weiss. It's titled Homan, Tom Homan, of course, plans to defy Spanberger, the new governor of Virginia, after Bond villain, that's how he characterized her, blocks ICE cooperation in Virginia. Not going to stop. So now we've got a far-left Democrat governor in Virginia, and she wants to defy ICE, and Tom Homan's saying, nope, we're not playing that game. So that's going to be interesting. Check out Rusty's article on that. We've also got from Bob Hogue, this is kind of interesting news. Thanks for the memories. Trump officially kicks World Health Organization to the curb. The U.S. is no longer a part of the World Health Organization. If you want to find out more about that and why, check out Bob's article.
This is huge. This is a big deal.
It is. It is. Last but not least, from Nicarama, we've got a little highlight of that hearing yesterday involving Jack Smith. This one's titled Brandon Gill Trounces Jack Smith and Leaves Him in the Dust During Epic Grilling. And I do want to point out, Brandon Gill is 31 years old. He is not a trained attorney, and he took Mr. former special counsel to the woodshed.
Yeah, that one, you knew that was just going to be a slugfest of sound bites and questions and all that kind of stuff. And that's exactly what it was delivered. All right, 7:21 right now. Okay, so when is a bar fight not just a bar fight? You ever been in a bar fight, Jerome?
I mean, come on, it's me you're asking.
I was going to say.
So I'm the
chances are
I'm the only one in the room here who's not been in a bar fight.
Okay, I was not willingly in a bar fight. Not voluntarily.
You got caught up in it.
I was collateral damage in a bar fight.
Yeah.
I did not start any of them, and I actually walked away with a new friend after one. So it's a good way sometimes of meeting people.
You can bond over things like that. I was merely collateral damage in one, and it was not pleasant.
No.
I do not recommend.
0 stars.
0 stars.
0 stars on Yelp. I thought you were saying 5 stars.
Yeah, I was seeing stars after that, but no, do not recommend.
God. Okay, so which is funny because I have actually never even seen a bar fight in all my life. I've never even been in one where one has happened, and I've spent time in bars. Don't get me wrong, but I've never actually seen one. And I don't care for the foo-foo ones. I'd rather have the dive ones or the sports bars. I've just never actually seen
I thought you meant like the foo-foo fights.
No, that I would watch. That's that I would watch. No, but like I'm not the cocktail bar kind of guy.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not a bar snob. Let me just say that.
No.
You're less likely to experience bar fights at the more foo-foo kind of places,
right?
But the fact that you intentionally go to more of the rough and rowdy rocker areas and you've still never seen one.
I know it's strange. I've just and I've been to bars all over the country.
Well, this weekend I'll take you out. We'll go.
Yeah,
you're not going. You're not going anywhere this weekend.
And not next weekend.
Nope,
he's going to be gone.
I won't be here. Anyway, so here's what happened. This is in Winfield, so we're talking Lincoln County. I mean, we're literally talking like 25 miles from where we're standing right now.
A little bit northwest.
Yep. And so what happened was this was last December. It was right before Christmas, but now it's all kind of coming out. There's a sports bar up there called, I just had it a second ago. Where did it go? Anyway, I'll
Playoffs?
Playoffs, yes, playoffs. I've never been to playoffs.
I have not.
And so somebody got mouthy with somebody else up there, and then stuff happened. But it turned out among those involved in the fisticuffs was the mayor.
Oh.
And some off-duty police officers in Winfield.
Well, when you're talking about a small community like that, which Winfield, even though it's part of a larger metro area, is.
Yeah.
everybody knows everybody. And yeah, these things happen.
And so this has gotten everything from the Channel 2's got a story on it. There's a website called Lincoln Watch or Lincoln County Watch. They're covering it as well, kind of a local outlet there. I found them on this as well. And what nobody can kind of figure out is who started what. One person was hurt bad enough they had to go to the hospital.
Oh, well, again, do not recommend.
Right. So this wasn't just, because you've referred to, Jerome, sometimes people get a little drunk and they get a little mouthy and somebody pushes or maybe a punch is thrown or something like that. And then at the end, you're like, all right, cooler heads prevail. Let's just, go home and no big deal. Well, somebody got hurt, so it's a big deal. So you've got the county sheriff and you've got the city prosecutor who's taking all these calls from, local media, all that. And they're in a horrible spot.
Yeah.
Especially the prosecutor,
all the key players are in the middle of it all.
Right. Everybody that you answer to and you work with. So the prosecutor, from what the answers he gave to some of the media stuff here is basically saying, if there's something that has to be filed on, there has to be some sort of court involvement here, he may have to hand this off to somebody else to do it independently because there's obviously a massive conflict of interest potentially.
You transfer the venue to St. Charles County is basically what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Either that or Pike County, but I would go St. Charles County. It's
more resources.
It's more resources, and it's not that far. I mean, that's the smart thing to do in something like that so that you don't have that conflict and the issue.
Yeah. So here's part of the story from Lincoln County Watch. It says the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office has confirmed that off-duty law enforcement officers, plural, were present and involved, but were not acting in any official capacity. I would hope that drinking in a sports bar is not part of your official capacity.
It shouldn't be.
No. It goes on to say in the article, again, I'm just reading from the article, the Sheriff's Office also confirmed that the mayor of Winfield, Nicole Hansen, was present at the establishment during the incident. And so an incident report was completed and forwarded to the Lincoln County Prosecuting Attorney's Office for review. The Sheriff's Office has emphasized that its role in the matter was limited to documenting what occurred and submitting that information for legal review, not determining fault, changing decisions, or judging character. So
we're gonna stay Switzerland on this.
Yeah.
So it says the mayor was present, but it doesn't indicate whether she was part of the melee or just happened to be a witness to it.
No arrests were made. Channel 2's story on this says that the mayor was reportedly involved.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got two different sets of accounting for on this, and this is the thing. Nobody really knows, but apparently this brawl was like 15 people.
Yeah, I see that. Someone got a drink thrown in the face. A man's falling over a patio railing.
Yeah. Now, I've seen both of those things, but for different reasons.
Yeah. 15 men and women pushing, tackling, punching, choking. That's
like battle royale stuff right there.
Yeah, that's
a proper bar fight.
If you're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
True.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, don't do it halfway.
So now, but with the smaller communities, like I said, it's a whole different dynamic because for instance, even if you like, and believe me, there are a lot of politicians at various, even very upper levels who it's fun to go hang out with.
Sure.
I'll just leave it at that. It's fun to go hang out. Okay, but they're very cognizant of the world could be watching right now. Well,
if they're not, they're dumb.
Yeah, but in the small towns, you don't have that as much. Not because they're any less smart or anything, but just because it's a small town and it's
well,
a
they're
whole
not going to
different
be
thing.
in the spotlight quite as much. I mean, just in that small pond,
Right.
yes, but
Yeah.
just overall, you're not going to be on the nightly news on a regular basis
No.
from some of our outlying communities. But that's a little awkward.
Yeah.
I wonder what the next town council meeting was like.
Yeah, I mean, and remember, I have lived in a number of very small communities,
Mhm.
and sometimes a perfectly valid legal defense is, well, he just needed hitting. He just needed to get smacked, and everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, that's fair. Okay,
That's
yeah,
fair.
that's fine." Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
my grandmother was the postmaster in a town of 400 people, so I know small towns.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty much everyone. And the nice thing about that is they tend to work things out amongst themselves too.
See, and in some ways, those small towns are ahead of the more prim and proper ones in that way, and that, you know what, they can handle their own problems.
They don't how to live together.
Yeah, they don't necessarily need to have everybody getting a record, but a brawl of 15 people with somebody going to the hospital,
that's serious,
and no arrests are made.
Yeah,
and no charges have been filed.
Do either of the stories indicate the nature of the injuries?
No, it just said it was not life-threatening, but serious enough to warrant going to the hospital.
Yeah, that's
not. It wasn't. I mean, I've written enough news stories that it sounds like whoever it was not in the hospital now. That's not like
right.
But it was bad enough. So they had to come in. Of course, they had to. Can you imagine getting the call out, the APB, for everybody to run in because there's a big bar fight and the cops get there like, Joe?
Yeah. Like, what? Half the force is here. What the heck?
I've actually had that happen before.
Uh-oh. What happened?
So I went out for St. Patrick's Day for the first time ever, and this was one of those bars where it was Irish themed, but it wasn't like a tavern. Like this was like a respectable establishment.
Well, see, that's your mistake.
And the so the
Don't
local
go to respectable places.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
But the local police force would do bar crawls where they would dress up and they would play traditional Irish music, including like drums and the pipe bags, whatever. And there was a guy that was just really drunk and kept messing with them and calling them names and didn't know they were cops. And so one of the guys that was on the force finally snapped and confronted him. The guy pushed him, and that triggered the entire thing.
Oh, wow.
Cops show up because now it's like a whole thing. And immediately we're like, okay, you guys are in so much trouble when we figure this all out.
Oh,
So
my gosh.
Boy.
Wow, man.
I don't know.
Okay, well, there it is. So the drama in Winfield.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to know a little bit more about the situation.
I'm going to be watching to see what's going on.
I know how to find out. You go on one of the community Facebook pages, and I'm sure the whole story is there.
I would hope so. That's going to be good reading, by the way.
What's also might be good is that the federal government is going back to an old regulation to deal with leftist bias in network TV. That's interesting. We'll explain that at 7:35.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Chance Gotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures continuously dropping throughout the day. Highs close to 13 degrees, but feels like temperatures below zero. Then into Saturday during the mid-morning hours, we're tracking widespread snow potential. That's going to ramp up Saturday night into Monday morning. We're going to be seeing some pretty impressive snowfall totals, making dangerous travel conditions widespread across the area before the cold and the snow pushes out as we head off into early portions of next week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
The Vic Borselli Show.
It is an honor and a privilege to have U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt.
Hey, I have to tell you, I don't know if I've ever told you this. In the 90s, what would this have been? Mid-90s.
Yeah.
And I was I worked at Grant's Farm and I had a couple other jobs. In the afternoon, I would often hear and listen to Borselli's Deli on the radio.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making me feel older than I already feel. That's just great.
Vic Borselli,
Live and local weekday mornings at 9
on News Talk STL.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
Today, we must face a serious issue. It involves President Trump. Now, maybe you think he can do no wrong, or maybe you think he is no longer capable of being president. Ladies and gentlemen, let me guide you to the 25th Amendment of our Constitution. It can be used to remove a president if he or she is deemed unable to continue serving based on physical issues or mental issues. I have here in my hand two sources who claim that Trump is no longer fit to be president. These two sources believe they know best, and when they know what is best is for Trump to be removed from office. What's that? Who are they? Well, they are convinced that Trump is more dangerous than ever before. And one of them said, I want my legacy to be that I got Trump out of office. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not just ramblings from idiots. Wait, I can't say that. Wait, man, I need to correct myself. How about this? I tell you their names, you decide if they're to be trusted. One is Whoopi Goldberg. The other is her partner on The View, Joy Behar. Ladies and gentlemen, I plead with you. ignore them.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Previously, I've told you about dustless blasting, a special service offered by Wellington Environmental. It could work for you in your place. Recently, a crew removed a driveway sealer that had failed. The owner wanted to go back to the original concrete so it could be properly sealed. Dustless blasting worked. That homeowner is happy. Now, sometimes surfaces need pressure washing instead of blasting. In fact, there was an exterior stone fireplace cleansed by pressure washing, and when it dried, all the dark stain was gone. That stone had its original appearance. Wellington is versatile with blasting. Dustless blasting or whatever you need. They will evaluate and make a decision. How do you get them to your door? Very easy. Call 314-644-4930. 644-4930. Wellington Environmental, making your world great. In fact, be safe, be well with Wellington Environmental.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airwaves for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
The 80s.
Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young.
Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where to be?
It's Flashback Friday.
I just died of your arms tonight. It must have been something you said. I just died of your arms tonight.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You know, it's been on the books for quite some time, but now broadcast networks are being told to adhere to, you know, what's sometimes called the equal time rule. There's a different set of titles for it. Could this change the overt bias that we see every day? Now, we're not necessarily just talking about the news. We're talking about things like the daytime talk shows, like obviously the late night talk shows. And so they're being challenged again using something that is already on the books. But like I said, it's been something that's just kind of not been enforced for quite a long time. We're now joined by David Bozell from the Media Research Center. And David, let me go into that background just so people understand what we're talking about here.
Sure.
You know, I've been in the business about 30 years, and obviously you've got a tremendous amount of experience. For many years, you know, even going back to when I was in college, we were taught, yeah, here's actually the regulation. But, you know, there's been a decision to just not enforce it, and it's just kind of been dormant. So what is it that the FCC is now saying to the networks, and who's being affected by this?
Yeah, Mike, I appreciate the opportunity. So the way I compare this to a professional sports league in the off season, telling all of its teams that there's going to be points of emphasis on different types of rules that they've sort of let go lax in the previous few years. This, at the risk of boring all of St. Louis, this all stems back to Section 315 of the Communications Act of 1934, which said that if you're going to get a broadcast license, if you're going to essentially be given this taxpayer subsidy, ABC, NBC, and CBS, having been the recipients of this, if you're going to get this subsidy, you have to play by what's called equal time rules, right? Especially in election years. If you're going to have a Democrat on who's running for election, you got to have a Republican on that's running for election. And this kind of reared its ugly head most prominently with Saturday Night Live. They had Kamala Harris on, and then they refused to invite Donald Trump on. And that was a big no-no. Now they went back on that decision after being threatened by the FCC, and Trump got his equal time. But last year, I mean, the View, the Kimmels of the world, all these guys, 99% of their late night guests were all left wingers. And The View just recently had 128 liberal guests compared to just two conservatives. The two were, basically Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was on there to dog President Trump, and Liz Cheney, who was also on there to dog President Trump. So the FCC is coming down heavy and saying, look, if you want to continue to receive this subsidy, you have got to adhere to equal time rules. It's the rule that's on the books. There's no exemptions, no exceptions. Now, you can make a newsmaker exception. So, in other words, Mike, if you were, let's say you were running for Congress and you've discovered a new way of making sourdough bread and you've made some news in that to that effect, you could get on without having your opponent get on. But beyond that, there's no exceptions. And so it'll be interesting to see what Kimmel and The View do from here on out, especially in the midterm year.
Yeah, now so I know Susie's got a question here. I want to follow up on one thing. You mentioned the subsidies a little bit for the national networks. Is there a Cliff Notes version of what that actually means? Because there might be some people surprised to hear that there's subsidies for these giant media conglomerates.
Yeah, so when the broadband network was essentially created, the broadcast network, as it were, that now everything is in internet parlance, so it's confusing. But ABC, CBS, and NBC exist on, kind of technologically speaking, kind of an archaic broadcast network. Now they really don't pay into that. It's a gift provided to them by the American people. The deal is they're supposed to provide equal time for both political parties. That's one of them. That's one of just the many parts of the deal, and they just routinely fail to do so, time after time after time. So it's one thing to be biased in your news coverage. It's quite another for your entertainment and sort of cultural programming to just all be left wing and one political ideology, hour after hour after hour.
Good morning, David. This is Susie Moore.
Hey, Susie.
Hi. I think a lot of people kind of got a crash course in FCC regulations and applicability after the Jimmy Kimmel incident, after he was taken off the air momentarily following Charlie Kirk's assassination and his comments on that. And so this is something that kind of perked people up and got them looking at this. But when we're talking about this in terms of equal access, we talk about it for Democrats and Republicans, but does it apply to other political parties as well?
The two majors are most highlighted, but you at some point there's not a hard and fast rule. So in other words, let's think of in other words, would you have to have a libertarian on?
Mm-hmm.
I think the invitation needs to be put out there. And look, I'm old enough to remember the days of Ralph Nader.
Sure.
The reason why Ralph Nader goes on national television, having only commanded 2-3% of the vote, is because of equal time rules. So yes, to a big extent it would. Now, are you going to? Does that apply to? Remember that guy who was running for New York City mayor and saying the rent was too damn high?
Oh yeah.
Is it going to apply all the way downstream? I don't think so.
Well, and that leads to the question I was going to have. We're visiting with David Bozell from our friends at the Media Research Center. Is this just something that is kind of given that warning out to the national networks itself, or does anybody who's a broadcaster like local television, local radio, and of course now this deals with broadcasters over the air. This isn't necessarily just for the cable news, but how far does this? Hey, heads up, we're going to be watching for this. How far does that extend? Yeah,
so the affiliates have a role here. And this played out during the Kimmel and Charlie Kirk situation. The affiliates own a lot of the local markets, and it wasn't RedState America ticked off so much as at Kimmel as much as it was Sinclair Broadcasting that owns a number of stations, ABC stations, in a number of different markets, including Washington D.C. and Chicago, Illinois. And so the local affiliates have a role to play, particularly, and it's all intertwined in the FCC rulemaking and regulations. And so they know that they're kind of on the hook. So the decision to shut Kimmel down for whatever that was, 48 hours or so, nice little vacation for telling a bold-faced lie, But the decision to shut down wasn't made by FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr. It was made by the affiliates, which are essentially Kimmel's boss. I mean, there's this old adage, you got to keep the affiliates happy. And the story of how Jay Leno got the Tonight Show over David Letterman is probably most famous. When he convinced the affiliates that he could play it down the middle better than Dave Letterman could. And in order to protect the license that the affiliates owned, they needed to hire, NBC decided to hire Leno instead of Letterman. So all the affiliates, the local markets, those are all intertwined for sure.
So is this going to result in, I mean, maybe it should result in taking a look at the statutes that pertain to this? I mean, are they in need of modernization, given that they were enacted almost a century ago and we're dealing with totally different mediums of communication now?
Yeah, I mean, Susie, it's one of those deals where, like the federal government is probably slower than the Vatican in a lot of these issues. And particularly, how do you respond to the new tech and new technologies? I love it when liberals will say, well, we don't, why doesn't Fox have to adhere to this? Well, Fox is a cable company, right? They're not getting this taxpayer subsidy known as the broadcast license. So, the rules are off the table for them. Same thing with CNN. Same thing with MSNBC. So does FCC need to modernize things? Sure, but with anything in Washington and the federal government Leviathan, that's kind of like moving boulders up the mountain.
Okay, we're visiting with David Bozell from Media Research Center. Just got a couple minutes left here, David. Okay, so let's talk about, I'm always looking for what could the unintended consequences be. Obviously, when you look at the Kimmels and the View and all those, what's the argument against saying, let the market decide? The market spoke up at one point, because at some point, do we risk networks and shows, entertainment, commentary, risk being in a position to where they have to worry about getting their jokes or their opinions vetted or censored by the government? And obviously there's a lot of things that could go wrong with that.
Look, this wasn't really a problem for about good 80 years of this. It's only sort of manifested itself to this kind of a degree in the Trump era, where a lot of these shows, The View and Kimmel and Colbert especially, just cannot contain themselves with regards to the Trump derangement syndrome. So it's unintended consequences. Look, if they went back to sort of the way it was, I think they'd be okay. They'd live to fight another day. If they don't want to enjoy the subsidy that taxpayers provide, they're more than welcome to just go live out their days on YouTube. They really are. If it's such a burden to have a Republican counterpart on your guest list, if it's that much of a burden for you, go live out your days on YouTube. I got no problem with that whatsoever. But if you're going to use public broadcasting airwaves, the deal that is on the books is that you've got to provide equal time to both parties. And if you don't like that deal, you can either go to YouTube, like I suggested, or work like the Dickens to change the law. If you feel that strongly about it. But the law is on the books, and the president and Brendan Carr have taken oaths to preserve and protect the law.
Okay, and then just last little add-on to that, David, and that is, the equal time means that they're on there, they're featured, interview, that sort of thing. It doesn't dictate what they have to, ask them. It doesn't dictate how they have to interview them. So if they give a glowing interview to the Democrat, technically, to be within the rules, they could have the Republican on and just talk about how bad they smell in the studio if they wanted to.
In defense of them, it really doesn't apply to if the guest even comes on. Yeah. The invitation needs to be extended in equal form. So look, if J.D. Vance or whoever, whichever Republican congressman in Missouri, if they just decline it, look, the broadcast network, that show, they would be in compliance. So, no, it does not apply to the style of the interview, the tenor, the tone, the type of questions. Now, do Republicans and conservatives get gnarly questions from these guys as compared to Democrats? Absolutely. But, you go into the lion's den if you want to go win some of these races.
Without a doubt. All right, David, thanks so much. This has really been fascinating to me. And, of course, we want to connect. We've already tagged you on social media as well, but what's the one-stop shop where people should go to follow the work that you do? Because you guys look into things that other people just don't have the resources to do to produce the information you do.
Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. Newsbusters.org is the quickest way, and all the social channels are right there listed for you.
All right. Thanks so much, David.
Thanks, guys.
All right. If you have enough information and you use your common sense, the winter storm should not be a big deal. Even though we're going to get a lot of snow, we're going to help you with that coming up at 7:15.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
If you're worried about losing your health insurance through Medicaid, we have great news for you. New government regulations have expanded the Affordable Care Act. And now you may qualify to get health insurance for you and your family through the Affordable Care Act. Call now to learn if you qualify. We know the healthcare regulations regarding Medicaid, and we've helped thousands of people find quality, affordable health insurance. Plus, all our research is free to you. So call us. With just one call, we'll shop from hundreds of different insurance companies to find you the right affordable health insurance plan. So if you're worried about losing your Medicaid insurance, call right now. Speak with a licensed agent and find how you may qualify for a new health insurance plan.
800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. That's 800-479-0931. Paid for by the Health Insurance Hotline.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Yeah, now let me give one little kind of caveat to the entire equal time thing. Years ago, in the middle of Kansas, there was a guy who was just an atrocious human being named Fred Phelps.
Oh.
Horrific human being.
Westboro Baptists.
Westboro. I have seen them in action. I was covering, I was actually, back when I was still doing news reporting, I was covering then Vice President Al Gore being in Kansas City. And, of course, they had all their big protests, and they were just gross, just disgusting people. But Fred Phelps would run for different things. I don't remember if he was running for Congress or Senate or whatever he was running for.
Whatever he'd get on the ballot for.
And, of course, the media would not have him because he would just say absolutely horrific stuff.
Yeah.
And at one point he sued because the Phelps family is just a bunch of lawyers. That's how they make their living. It's not through people going to their quote unquote church. They sue people and get settlements, and that's what they do is they provoke fights and then they go sue whether they're right or wrong and they settle. Well, Fred Phelps has been dead for a long time, and I know where I'm going when I'm dead. I suspect I'm never going to meet him. Let's just put it that way. And at one point he sued, I think it was a Topeka TV station, because they would interview the other opponents, but they wouldn't interview him. And he got a like a ruling or a settlement, or and so they had to give him X number of minutes. And I think they had to do it on the newscast because they'd interviewed the other one so many times. And so he just got him there for a few minutes and just, they put up a disclaimer and the whole and he just, vomited up his bile for whatever allotted time. And then they just went on and there's nothing they could do about it.
Well, the thing I will say about that, though, is if you put the disclaimer up and you say, look, we're obligated under the law to have this person on. We don't endorse his views.
Yeah.
We would rather not have him on the air, but we have to.
Yeah.
We apologize in advance. And if you've got an issue with it, please take it up with Mr. Phelps.
Yeah, and there was they negotiated, I think. If I remember the story right, they had to negotiate the language of that because they're like, no, we're not going to not have a disclaimer.
If anybody didn't already know what a grotesque human being he was, that exposed them to the fact that he was. So it probably didn't do him any favors. Let me just put it that way.
Yep. All right. Well, maybe next week won't be as insane as this week has been.
And you probably just jinxed it.
Yeah, it's gonna be that insane. All right, here's kind of a quick just review of what the last 7 days have looked like news-wise right around the entire country here.
It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
I think it is critically important that we together, Democrats and Republicans, speak and act with moral clarity and say that type of violence has no place in our society.
And I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy.
Carlos, this is Jack O'Connell with Baseball Writers Association of America.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Calling you from Cooperstown. Baseball writers have elected you to the Hall of Fame.
People thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force.
It basically says, hey, the road's the place to drive. It's not the place to protest. And if you get hit by someone traveling down the road because you're protesting on the highway, the person doing the driving has no criminal or civil liability attached to them.
The goal of the march is ultimately to make abortion unthinkable.
That's just the last 5 days. That's just the last.
I got tired just hearing that, to be honest.
Oh my goodness!
It's every week's like that, though.
It's just so draining sometimes.
It is. I mean, it's invigorating and draining because I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love this stuff.
Right.
But it can wear on you, and it is. I do appreciate the fact that I do actually get a day off.
Yeah.
In theory, that's
well. Here's my challenge, everybody. We're gonna be basically after midday tomorrow. Probably just hunker down for a day and a half or so. Don't drive yourself crazy with the decompress a little bit.
Put on Hallmark
or sports.
He was really struggling there for a minute, folks, in case you couldn't see it. But honestly, if you just want like mindless entertainment in the background while you clean up your family room or play a board game, just something, just something easy, breezy.
Yeah, precisely. Because we do have that storm coming through here. We're actually we talked to Chance Gotsch from Channel 4 a little bit ago, so we're going to let you hear from him. We're going to keep you updated on the storm itself. In Missouri, a state of emergency has already been declared. Here is what Governor Kehoe had to say. He's basically putting out a request to everybody in the state.
The next couple of days, our state is facing a significant weather event. And when the weather event is in almost all 114 counties across the state, it's challenging for our state and your communities to keep our roads clear. Please, if you can, stay off the road. Let these men and women who know how to get the roads safe for our families do their work. The cold weather is going to actually complicate the safety on the road. The extreme cold temperatures are going to make it very unsafe for somebody who could be stranded on one of these roads for multiple reasons. If you can stay off these roads, please do so and let our communities get things cleaned up for the next couple of days. God bless you.
Pretty common sense stuff there.
I'm with you, Governor Kehoe. I plan to, after my morning stint tomorrow, I will not be on the roads for at least a day and a half, not 2 days.
And so what we're looking at is maybe a little bit of early parts of the snow, in the morning, but really we're talking about, late morning, midday, or the current models of the forecast. But by the time we get into the afternoon, mid-afternoon, certainly late afternoon on Saturday, we're getting thumped with a lot of snow, possibly upwards of a foot of snow.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
When you've got something to say, be heard loud and clear.
If they'll just do what they were voted in to do.
This party needs to get a backbone. They need to get some spine.
Join the conversation. St. Louis's place to talk.
The Democrats and the Republicans can give us all the lip service they want, but what they need to do is take action today.
101.9 and 94.1.
You have to take a stand sometimes.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. If you're one of the tens of millions of Americans in the path of that massive winter storm, authorities say now is the time to prepare if you haven't done so already, because once the storm moves in, you probably won't be going anywhere.
Severe weather is about to hit much of the United States. National Weather Service meteorologist Frank Pereira says heavy snow is expected to cover the southern Rockies and Plains through the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast.
We're looking at widespread snowfall totals of 6 inches to upwards of a foot or more in some places.
And for parts of the southern U.S., ice.
We're looking at ice accumulations that will likely exceed a quarter inch in many areas, up to perhaps even 1 inch.
Forecasters say the damage from this storm, especially areas pounded by ice, could rival a hurricane. I'm Donna Warder.
The United Arab Emirates is hosting the latest round of Ukraine peace talks as negotiators from the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine meet in Abu Dhabi. Pro-lifers from across the country in Washington, D.C. today. It's the annual March for Life.
Organizers have released a statement saying, quote, even with the wonderful blessing of Roe versus Wade being overturned, the necessary work to build a culture of life in the United States is not finished, unquote. And so the march goes on, starting with a rally today on the National Mall at lunchtime, followed by a walk up Capitol Hill. There are some pro-lifers who will seek to meet with their member of Congress, while others will pray at the Supreme Court.
It's correspondent George Williams. Vice President Vance says reports that ICE agents arrested a 5-year-old in Minneapolis are just plain wrong. Vance says the child's father, an illegal alien, ran from the agents, who then would not let the youngster stay outside in the cold. Vance made his remarks during a visit yesterday to Minneapolis. More on these stories, townhall.com.
They say timing is everything in the gold and silver markets, and it's true. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. Although you can buy at the right time, if you buy the wrong coins, you may not make a profit. When gold was $400 an ounce, many people were talked into buying high-grade old gold and silver collector's coins. Unfortunately, most of the people who bought these so-called semi-numismatic coins, like the $20 St. Gordon's and Liberty Head gold coins, have not broken even on their investment. Incredible, given that gold has risen approximately 525% since then. So while timing is everything, if you buy the wrong coins, the timing simply doesn't matter. Having a dealer who cares about positioning you in the right types of coins or bullion will mean more to your portfolio than anything else. That's why I deal with Nick Rovich and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. Or go to AmericanFederal.com, AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Chance Gotsch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures continuously dropping throughout the day. Highs close to 13 degrees, but feels like temperatures below zero. Then into Saturday during the mid-morning hours, we're tracking widespread snow potential. That's going to ramp up Saturday night into Monday morning. We're going to be seeing some pretty impressive snowfall totals, making dangerous travel conditions widespread across the area before the cold and the snow pushes out as we head off into early portions of next week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Looking for unbelievable deals? Stop by Overstock Outlet in Lake St. Louis or Warrenton. Open 7 days a week. Discover big savings on a huge variety of merchandise with no hassle. Just great prices. Visit us in Lake St. Louis on Highway N or in Warrenton on Boones Lake. Check out our Facebook page at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis or go online to OverstockOutletSTL.com. Unbeatable value, friendly service, and you never know what we'll have at Overstock Outlet.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
Mike Ferguson.
Boo! Relax, nerd.
Susie Moore.
And that would be a good time to respond with some applause.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
That's a banana republic without the banana.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, I don't want to beat the cliche to death because everybody's doing it right now, but it's just so fitting. At least a few of the insane leftists who swarm that church, they are in the find out stage of things right now.
Yes, they are.
And the funny part is how many people are acting shocked that they actually ended up in handcuffs and got perp walked. They're surprised.
What do you mean I can't just barge in on people minding their own business in a private establishment without permission and antagonize all of them?
And they face federal charges. We are now joined by Teri, Christoph from RedState. Teri, great to have you back on the program. Okay, so if you want to look up the article, and I think you should, it's breaking. FBI arrest ringleaders of commie horde that stormed city's church. And, of course, there are updates on this. I think the first version, there'd only been 1 or 2 arrests, Teri, and now we're looking at 3 arrests at this point. And this is not for show. I mean, the feds are dead serious about this. It looks like they've got their prosecutorial ducks in a row. What's the latest that we know right now?
Well, the latest that was last night, which was a beautiful visual for everybody, was the mugshots were released. Mm-hmm. So it is serious. They are in jail. They are facing actual federal charges of obstructing people to going about their constitutional right to express their religious freedoms and whatnot. So it's going forward. It's legit. And it's, I have to say, I posted pictures of the mugshots last night on a Facebook page that I run, and it went bonkers. People are really excited to see some arrests happening because there's nothing more egregious, I think, in America than to have religious freedom trampled on by people who think that they are Jesus. And like one of the women arrested actually said that, Jesus went into the temple and he disrupted things. He cleansed the temple, and that's what they're doing. Oh, my goodness, I cannot handle to hear these people who are just absolute lunatics invoke the name of Jesus and what they're trying to do. It's just absolutely outrageous. And I think it's a pretty big win for Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Yeah, so when we look, I mean, a lot of times we have devolved into a society that says they're wrong on the issues, they're in the other tribe, I just want them arrested because I want them punished. We're talking about actual statutes in the law. This isn't symbolic or ceremonial. We are talking they're facing charges because it appears, clearly broke the FACE Act on this. So what is the realistic chance that there are actual penalties? I mean, I think they could spend up to 10 years in jail. I doubt any of them will. But is it possible that they could actually do at least a little bit of time?
I think so. And the reason that I think so is that they'll probably remember that this happened Sunday and the arrest didn't happen until Thursday. And people were very, very frustrated in those 4 days because not only did we see what they did on Sunday, but they also repeatedly went in front of cameras and just taunted and said, yeah, I was part of it, and bragging about what they did. And people were very frustrated, like, where are the arrests? Where are the arrests? Mm-hmm. So I think, like what you said, I think that they lined up their ducks. Like, I think that the Department of Justice, FBI, everybody made sure during those 4 days that they were doing it correctly so that these charges can stick. And these people who are just so flagrantly just flaunting what they're doing in our faces are actually going to have to pay some consequences. So that's why I think that something will stick. Like you said, I doubt it's going to be as much as they deserve. But I do think that Pam Bondi and her team really took the time to make sure that they were doing it correctly, even though we were all frustrated, like, come on, we want to see some perp walks. Yeah. But I think that they took the time to make sure that there's something that's there that they can really go after it. I really hope that they do, because these people are obnoxious in the extreme.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing, there's a difference between I want a perp walk because I want my opponent humiliated, kind of like why the left wanted a mugshot of Donald Trump, because they want the humiliation on this. We need to separate our desire for their humiliation and their desire for our humiliation away from, was an actual crime committed? And if so, will there actual be accountability? In this case, that means conviction and sentencing of something. Let me read you something that was just sent in on our social media, Teri. And we got a comment that says, my wife goes to church weekly, but she says it's an institution that's open to the public, even if it's private property. She's not sympathetic to these jerks, but can they really be prosecuted for this?
That's interesting. I think they can, and I think Pam Bondi has been pretty unapologetic about this. This is they tried to disrupt religious freedom, and I think we are still taking that very seriously here. It is private property. All are welcome, because I do believe that is the Christian ethos, is that all are welcome, but not all are welcome to come and disrupt and stop people. I think we all saw the footage of a little boy was crying because they were aggressive and obnoxious. They weren't there to be part of the community and have a productive conversation with the congregants there. They were there to disrupt them and to stop them from worshiping. And you can't do that. So I get where they're coming from, is that, all are welcome, come on in, but you're not welcome to stop the worshiping. That's not that's not going to fly. And there was another article I wrote earlier in the week about Minnesota's Attorney General Keith Ellison, really trying to confuse the issue with, oh, yeah, there's freedom of religion, but there's also freedom of expression, and they can come right in there and do whatever they want, and you're just going to have to get used to it. To which, it was like, okay, when we come to your mosque, Keith Ellison, and do the same thing, you're going to be that open-minded about it, right?
Yeah, you're just going to have to live with it, I think, is what he actually said. The article...
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, the article is called FBI Arrest Ringleaders of Commie Horde That Stormed City's Church. And one key part, and I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer, that's Susie's gig here, but I'm not going to try to pretend to be a lawyer, but within a minute or two, there is video documentation of the pastor who was preaching, pointing at the door saying, you all have to leave. And obviously that didn't happen. And that makes all the difference in the world on a private property situation, I would think. I mean, again, I'm not pretending to be a lawyer, but the FACE Act itself is specifically mentioning this setting, which is why there may be such a solid case, Teri.
Yes, and when people on the left come out and go, this is outrageous. Well, the Biden administration used the FACE Act to prosecute people that were protesting at abortion clinics. So I think that we're having a bit of a reckoning here, and it's going to be a rough one for the left and a pretty delightful one for people on the conservative side of the spectrum. One point that I think I want to make that is really going to anger people. These people are about to get, the three that got arrested, they're about to get extremely rich off of this. There's going to be GoFundMes like you've never seen for these three. And this is part of the whole process right now of how do we handle all of this? These people are terrible people, and we're about to make them millionaires. That's been on my mind today. I was thinking about these three, they're about to become martyrs. They're about to become, their faces are going to be on T-shirts, and they're going to have all the money in the world for the best defense.
Yeah, and the funny part about all that with the T-shirts, because you see that all the time, is that the Marxist and the commie hordes, as you call them, they're going to be, dare I say it, capitalizing off of the situation and making money?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And they're loud and proud about it. I mean, I think your point about like that they were live streaming from inside, it's all on, talking about getting a conviction.
Mm-hmm.
They so proudly didn't think there were going to be any sort of repercussions against them. And they videoed it all. And so the DOJ, I'm not going to say slam dunk, but they've got a lot of really solid evidence there because these people are so, they're just so kind of ignorant to what they're actually doing, and they put it on tape and then they go and flaunt it. Particularly that one guy, the TikToker, the woke farmer, the third guy that got arrested yesterday who was taunting Pam Bondi, come and get me. And watching him perp walk was beautiful.
So she basically said, well, okay, here you go.
Okay, yeah, I mean, and again, a big win for Pam Bondi because a lot of people have been kind of looking at their watches like we're a year into this administration. When are we going to see something?
I was one. I've been one of those. I'm not saying was. I still am one of those. But so let me go back to the aspect of why is this so important? I mean, there's the tribal us versus them. They've been getting away. But what about the bigger picture here? Why is it important that the feds come in and throw the book at them and go for? I mean, they should be asking for the maximum sentence. They're not going to get it, but they should be asking for. Why is it so important for them to crack down and file federal criminal charges in a situation where nobody was physically hurt? They were just being massive jerks, but they were interfering with their rights. So why is it crucial that the federal government not let up and not just be content to send a message because they arrested, but really to follow through?
Well, I think because people want to know that they're as safe as they can be going to worship on Sunday, to go to their church, and they're safe, and that these people aren't going to be disrupting them. Because I think as Americans, we know that this freedom of religion is really one of the most important freedoms that we have here. And there's a lot of reasons why I think it's important. And I think the reason that they pick on religious institution is because Christianity and religion, they're the last bulkheads of freedom, and commies like this, they see us as a great threat. I'm a Christian. They see me as a great threat to them because of my beliefs of something bigger than they are, and they have a belief in themselves. So as that point, I feel like the Christians need some reassurance that the government has their back, that they can go in there and do their freedom of religion in any way that they wish to do that is within the law. But I also think that, what's going on in Minnesota on so many levels is egregious fraud and abuse and criminality, and we have to see some actual consequences and convictions. So I just think it's important for the success of the administration that they start really getting some people locked up.
All right, we're visiting with Teri Christoph from RedState.com. Teri, just got a minute or so left. Give me your thoughts on Don Lemon, at least so far, escaping charges, even though he went in with them and he was there and he was also antagonizing the pastor or one of the pastors of the church. What's your thoughts on where that situation is?
Well, we definitely all would like to see a mugshot of him. And I noticed what was interesting in the mugshots that came out last night, the women were in these very lemon yellow jumpsuits in their mugshots. I was like, all right, we need to see Don in this lemon yellow jumpsuit. Susie did write that up at RedState, so I'm going to kind of defer on that kind of stuff to her. What's like, it does seem that there might be a little bit of friends of Don Lemon's side, who are kind of behind the scenes there in terms of like the Attorney General's office, like actually having positions of power in the legal community there in Minnesota that might be kind of trying to gum up the works there for him. But I mean, I wish I knew more about like what they could do, but he was on social media this morning taunting again, like, you're not going to get me. Mm-hmm. And I believe our friend Bonchi at RedState is writing this up right now. So if people want to go look like within the next half hour or hour for it, kind of making the case that Don Lemon isn't so confident that he's not going to get charged, but he's trying to kind of, again, gum up the works ahead of time to muddy the waters so that if he is charged, there's a lot of stuff he could say like, oh, they're just trying to get back at me because I was on a live stream or something. So I think he's really I think he might be worried that he's getting arrested and he's trying to take action to maybe garner sympathy ahead of time. And again, probably a great GoFundMe for Don Lemon in the works.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a job, so he's going to need one. The triumphant gay black man in America, as he was talking about with What's-Her-Face. All right, Teri, Christoph, the article once again, FBI arrest ringleaders of commie horde that stormed city's church. You can find that, obviously, RedState.com. Teri, thanks so much. Really appreciate the update on here.
Thanks.
All right, the storm is on the way. We do need to take this one seriously, but we also need to not panic. It'll all be over soon. You can have a good weekend out of it if you use some common sense. We just spoke with our friends at KMOV. I'm going to let you hear the updated forecast from just literally minutes ago right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All at once depart, no destination, making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
A cross between Socrates and Dirty Harry.
On News Talk STL.
Can't you hear the alarm?
Hanson's Tree Service at Hanson'sTree.com is your one-stop shop for expert insured tree care and more in the greater St. Louis region and at the Lake of the Ozarks. Visit Hanson'sTree.com for 24/7 emergency tree care, grinding and land clearing, awesome organic mulch, green resource recycling, and more. Tim Jones here to tell you that whether you're dealing with old man winter at your home or business in the St. Louis region or preparing your lake home for spring, call Hanson's to help you out. No job too big or too small. Mention News Talk STL. Receive 10% off all tree care services. Hanson'sTree.com. Hanson'sTree.com.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
On this week's show, we have Mark Schreiber with the St. Louis Sports Commission, Scott Dreckneck, President and CEO of the Economic Development Council of St. Charles. And you've heard this guest on Fox News for many years. We have Elliot Davis in studio.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
I'll talk to you Sunday night at 5, only on News Talk STL.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer. News, analysis, opinion.
You know, they're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL. The 80s. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, here's where we are at. Basically, run your errands now, but you don't have to rush. You don't have to panic. Or at least you may want to get that done by this afternoon. Maybe you can get away with it early in the morning before that first round of snow comes in. But really, you know, whatever you got it done. And here's the thing. This is not going to be the end of the world. We're going to stay in for a couple days. We'll be fine by early next week. So we spoke with Chance Gotsch from KMOV, our friends at KMOV Weather, Channel 4 Weather, just to get the updated pattern of what we're looking at. And we are looking at a significant amount of snow, but really that dangerously cold temperatures is what we're dealing with right now. And here is what Chance told us about the new models of the forecast from literally just a little bit ago.
Susie and I were talking, maybe I said it on the air. I said, every once in a while there's like a big weather thing that just reminds us how small we really are as a species. That we don't have the control of the things around us that we think we always do. No. And it does make a big difference. And that's what's happening literally right now as those temperatures are dropping as we speak. Joined now by Chance Gotsch, our friend from KMOV Weather. All right, Chance. We chatted yesterday, and you even made it clear then. We're saying we're still tightening up what this forecast is going to be. Now we know we're in the zone that's going to get some significant snowfall. So are we looking at a 1-2 punch with that pause between it, or what is the kind of the chronology of what we can expect here?
Yeah, so you mentioned a little bit about that cold. We're already cooling down right now. We had our first cold front pass through. It's a drier one, so that Arctic air is coming through. So today the main story is going to be the frigid temperatures. I mean, from here on out, we're going to be hard-pressed to see anywhere getting above that 0-degree mark for the feels-like temperature throughout the rest of the day. But then when we talk about the snow, we're just over 24 hours out from about the initial start time. So we're looking about mid-morning, so closer to 9 a.m., depending on that dry air that comes in. That first 1-2 punch, kind of like you just kind of met us with there, will start close to about 9 a.m. That first punch will go until about 9 p.m. But the news is, that first one is going to be a lot lighter. So we're looking at about 1 to 2 inches of snowfall accumulation during that time period. That is not the main one out of the system, but when you combine that with the cold, it's definitely going to be dangerous, especially if you slide off or anything like that with it being that frigid. But the main punch is going to come from about 9 p.m. Saturday night, lasting all the way through about noon Sunday. That's when we're looking at the bulk of this snowfall, looking at additional 6 to 10 inches on top of that 1 to 2 inch we see in the morning. A lot of that starts to taper back off, but not until about noon to about 8 p.m. during the afternoon hours Sunday. That's when we could see up to an additional 1 inch, but it really starts to fall back off. So, yeah, most of that snowfall is going to become to the region Saturday night, lasting all the way through until about Sunday at noon.
Okay, I'm doing a little napkin math there, Chance. So we're talking 11, 12, 13 inches of snow in total?
Yeah, so just kind of to give reference on the area for that, we have our updated snowfall maps this morning. Me and Matt Chambers worked really hard kind of going through here because we're continuing to see everything still pulling further and further north. So when we talk about a east to west line, an imaginary line here, going from Sullivan to Festus all the way to Nashville, Illinois, and south, that's going to be the biggest area. So we're talking southern Jefferson County on the Missouri side of things, 8 to 13 inches plus going to be possible there. Just north of that line, all the way to about Bowling Green, this is including pretty much most of the metro here. We're looking at 7 to 12 inches possible. So anywhere from 7 inches to about a foot going to be within realm for the system as we look off towards the upcoming weekend. Excuse me.
And Chance, it sounds like that first wave, as you said, is just going to be like an inch or two to start things off. Then we get a break, and then that's when the real heavy snow comes later. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it'll be very light at times. I mean, there might be some areas that do see that initial break during the Saturday afternoon hours. But with that said, because it's such a frigid, cold atmosphere, we've been talking a lot this morning. This is the type of snow where, one, it'll blow back on the roads if they clear it, and also with the temperatures, that pre-treatment doesn't work too well for the melting. But also, whenever you start to drive on this snow, if you guys ever think about maybe you pull your car onto your driveway and you pull it back off and you notice it compacts really well. Well, this is that type of snow, so it's going to get pretty slick, even to 1 to 2 inches in some areas as we look off into Saturday afternoon. But by Saturday night, the recommendations at this point, it's going to be dangerous. We're telling people if you can, unless it's an emergency, probably be off the roadways until at least we head off into maybe Sunday night, maybe Monday. But even then, we're going to be having some issues with this much snow being cleared.
Yeah, okay. So, Chance, I mean, we're trying to tell everybody, listen, don't panic. You know, we'll be back to normal probably by Tuesday when they have time to go through all the streets and everything like that. But if we got to get those last-minute errands done and we're like, okay, we're going to stay in on Saturday, what's really the time frame we should be looking at to, you know, if we want to run to the store and pick up the whatever and that sort of thing, how should we kind of plan the next day or two?
Yeah. So today, honestly, I would say this is the best case scenario is you don't have to go out at all tomorrow. You could just have a nice little staycation at home, just because once that snow does start to fall, it's going to be an issue just because you compact it more and more you drive on it. So best case scenario is you get out today, you get everything you need to get done so you can be cozy, watch movies this weekend. I don't know, maybe have a little hot chocolate movie night with the family. Saturday, though, we're going to be looking at, hopefully you're going to be done if you have to be outdoors at all or driving, hopefully by the mid-afternoon hours at latest before we start to see things potentially ramping up.
Now, Chance, where's the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of temperatures starting to kind of ratchet back up and get us maybe into some melting even at this?
Something that allows us to be human again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I'm still looking. I hate to say it, I'm still looking for that light. I've actually put the totals down a little bit more. Yeah, Yeah, we're looking at temperatures below freezing throughout this upcoming weekend. Tuesday, we do get closer to the 30-degree mark. We're not seeing too much in terms of widespread sun, so not looking at much melting. But then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, where temperatures are closer back to the teens, overnight lows back towards the single digits once again. So we got a while. I mean, I got to look at the extended forecast, and when I talk about that, I'm talking 8 to 14 days away to see what that trend looks like. But the next 10 days, I don't see a single above freezing temperature for the afternoon high yet.
Okay, well, by then, I don't care because I won't be here anyway. I'm out of here.
Shush, Mike.
Okay, all
it's
right.
not nice.
I'm just saying, I'll tell everybody on Monday, I'm just going somewhere that's not like that. All right, so Chance, obviously, the KMOV app, you got the weather on the social media, everything. So hopefully everybody's tuned in and checking that because you guys are, I mean, this is being updated pretty much constantly at this point.
Yeah, especially as it continues to move north. The good news is the one low-pressure system we've been waiting to get on actual board here, which is going to be now making its way through Southern California. It's now on land, which the good thing is that means we have a lot better data because we have a lot more systems that can manage that. Plus, the hurricane hunters actually went out just yesterday and got some information. So our models are going to have a lot better data, which is actually helping us kind of close in a little bit better on the timing for the system and what we're going to be expecting in terms of final snowfall.
All right, Chance, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Okay, so really what we're talking about here is the timing of all this, Jerome. I mean, that's really, yes, it's a foot of snow and all that, but it's January. It's the Midwest. So it's really the timing of it. And once the stuff really starts rolling in, just the common sense. Here's actually something that the governor had to say. He's already declared a state of emergency.
You know, the next couple of days, our state is facing a significant weather event. And when the weather event is in almost all 114 counties across the state, it's challenging for our state and your communities to keep our roads clear. Please, if you can, stay off the road. Let these men and women who know how to get the roads safe for our families do their work. The cold weather is going to actually complicate the safety on the road. The extreme cold temperatures are going to make it very unsafe for somebody who could be stranded on one of these roads for multiple reasons. If you can stay off these roads, please do so and let our communities get things cleaned up for the next couple of days. God bless you.
So basically, don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. You know what? I know how to do this. I grew up in this. I can get there. Don't be that guy. What do you mean the store's closed? Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
And don't be the guy that when it becomes evident how much snow we're getting, that you decide, hey, I'll just order up delivery. I'll do my part. And I'll put somebody. No, don't be that guy either. But the worst person to be would be one that would spread a hoax about monkeys that brought the community together and then not be able to come forward and provide the evidence. So, did the monkeys that became famous through all the memes even exist? One city department says yes. Another says, well, we don't know. We'll bring you the latest in St. Louis primate news at 8:35.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
My opinion is it's weird.
On News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Chance Gotsch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures continuously dropping throughout the day. Highs close to 13 degrees, but feels like temperatures below zero. Then into Saturday during the mid-morning hours, we're tracking widespread snow potential. That's going to ramp up Saturday night into Monday morning. We're going to be seeing some pretty impressive snowfall totals, making dangerous travel conditions widespread across the area before the cold and the snow pushes out as we head off into early portions of next week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotsch.
Fox News commentary with Brian Kilmeade next.
New Year's resolutions sound great on January 1st, but January 10th, not so much. This year, there's one resolution worth keeping, getting your finances in order. For many people, that starts with balance, not just growth, but protection too. And that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. For over a decade, they've made it easy for investors to add gold and silver to their portfolios and reduce market risk. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com, NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making investment decisions.
Here's Brian Kilmeade.
Pay attention, world. He is not playing global cop. He's playing America first, which is always keeping our enemy/rival front and center in his decisions. Just because we're not flooding the Pacific with our naval armada doesn't mean he's not about defending the Pacific Ocean. This is not chaos. It's called a well-constructed, executed plan. I see it a major success so far. You know, there is one point of leverage that China has, and that is rare earth. But Trump is already working that out. Did you notice? He's calling together a meeting of all our allies, all hands on deck approach to mining and refining to give us all back control of our weapons, our phones, our grids. While people think Trump's tactics can be chaotic, in reality, it's really just the opposite. And by going after our problems around the world, we're actually suddenly containing and confronting our number one challenge all at the same time.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Why are you going to work? It's Sunday.
It's a brand new show on News Talk STL. JC's Sunday Showgram.
Sunday mornings, we tell behind-the-scenes stories. This week, it's the time a blizzard trapped a bunch of us inside the radio station for 4 days without provisions. Also, one of the biggest debacles in St. Louis television history that included Saturday Night Live, all brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
Sunday mornings, 7 to 9. Then podcast each Monday on NewsTalkSTL.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Just the convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime.
Everywhere.
Anywhere. The 80s.
Excellent.
Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
Nobody else in town's playing that bump music, I'm just saying.
Oh, no.
Okay, we don't mean to beat it into the ground, but take the storm seriously. Got the update for you here. Basically, I think we've said everything we can say. Just use common sense.
There's a storm coming?
Yeah. All right. Some nutcase leftists who stormed that church are now in the beginning of the find out stage of things. And was there actually any monkey business in St. Louis this month?
Well, there's always some sort of monkey, but was there business involving literal
actual monkeys? Now we don't act, we've gone from confirmed to unconfirmed. It's not disproven, it's not debunked, it's just now we're back to unconfirmed.
If I find out this whole thing was because of like a parody page that stole the logo and everybody just, I'm going to be so disappointed.
Oh, man. All right, 8:36. Let's do one final news dump of the week.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
All right, winter storm almost here. We are seeing the first end of it by the fact that the temperatures are dropping like crazy right now. It looks like the St. Louis region is going to see 2 waves of snowfall. We just spoke with Chance Gotsch over at KMOV. The first one is going to start tomorrow morning and last for several hours. That's going to be the lighter of the 1-2 punch. There may be a pause in that snowfall around the midday tomorrow, and then the biggest part of the storm likely to hit Saturday afternoon through Sunday afternoon, maybe through Sunday evening. Governor Mike Kehoe, simple message for Missourians.
Please, if you can, stay off the road. Let these men and women who know how to get the roads safe for our families do their work.
So we're looking at around a foot of snow in the St. Louis region before it's all said and done, and that's going to drop in a fairly short amount of time. It's going to be very dry snow, which means if we stay off the roads as much as possible, that MoDOT has a fighting chance of keeping up with it, assuming they keep their ducks in a row. So temperatures, like I said, already falling. dangerous cold is going to be here by tonight. I would argue it's probably dangerous cold right now with the wind chill. Wind chill right now is below zero, even though the actual temperatures are not below zero.
Yeah, and for those that have been watching our stream, I've been doing real-time updates to keep an eye on the weather. It's dropped about 5 degrees since I got here. Normally, by the time we end the show, it's actually 5 degrees warmer, and we're having the opposite right now.
Yep. All right. Former special counsel Jack Smith defending his investigation of President Trump at a congressional hearing on Capitol Hill. This one got spicy.
Appearing before a House panel, Smith testified that he had acted without regard to politics as he led Trump investigations into 2020 election interference and misuse of classified documents. Both cases were dropped. Smith told lawmakers that Donald Trump willfully broke laws in a bid to keep power and that no one should be above the law in our country. But Republicans blasted Smith, accusing him of conducting politically motivated investigations. Greg Clugston, Washington.
All right. Attorney General Pam Bondi, as you know, announcing that now 3 protesters who were part of storming that church in St. Paul, Minnesota, have been arrested. Minneapolis attorney Jordan Kusher represents one of them, and that is Nikema Levy Armstrong. And he was speaking with reporters in St. Paul saying these arrests are not right.
This is not a legitimate prosecution.
Yes.
This is a political persecution.
Really? I mean, I know you got to represent your client, but that's what you're going with? Really?
Bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off.
Yeah, let's see how that works out here. All right, so FBI Director Kash Patel says Armstrong's arrest is in connection with a violation of the FACE Act, and that very explicitly, very specifically prohibits interfering with the exercise of religion at a place of worship. I mean, there's no question that they broke that. That's what they intended to do. So now it's going to be a matter of, are they going to be facing any actual consequences for their actions?
Which the interesting thing that I'm seeing right now is first it was, well, the protesters were just exercising their First Amendment rights. Now but the church was public. I mean, how are they going to charge them with something if it's public?
We've heard that argument, except if you look at some of the within minutes, maybe a minute, the guy who was preaching, pointing to the door and telling him, you have to leave. Okay, we'll see where this goes. Now, basically, we're going to see whether the prosecutors or the juries or the judges in very, very deep blue Minnesota. And Minnesota itself is not super deep blue, but their politics are deep blue. We'll see whether or not that they actually have the guts to prosecute people for doing this. Remains to be seen. House Speaker Mike Johnson talking about the House voting to approve all 12 appropriation bills to fund the government. And they are headed for the Senate now. Of course, just 8 days before a government funding deadline on the 30th. It's shutdown season again.
Yay.
Yay. We're basically preseason for shutdown season. All right. Speaker Johnson says once the package is passed and signed into law, Republicans will have replaced the last of the Biden-era spending levels with Trump-era spending levels.
We've spent less. We've saved more taxpayer dollars. We've codified efforts to remove waste and fraud and abuse. We've advanced a full budget that provides real teeth and delivers the America First agenda, just as we promised that we would.
Okay, so the appropriations bills provide funding for defense, transportation, housing and urban development, health and human services, labor, education, and also Homeland Security.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so a lot of ground getting covered in that one. So I suspect that the Republicans in the Senate are probably, there's not going to really be any dissension on this one. I suspect this is getting passed next week. So we're going to have an update from Congressman Eric Burleson on Monday. Going to be with us on the program. Okay, a Council on Criminal Justice report finds that murders were down 21% across the country in 2025. That doesn't mean they were down in every single city, just across the country in general. That's what they're saying.
Okay, who is saying that, though?
The Council on Criminal Justice.
Okay, because I know that during the Biden administration, they were claiming, hey, we got, theft and robberies and all that stuff down a lot, and then it just turned out they just weren't reporting it, or they were changing the actual charge so they could. So how reliable, should we be excited about this?
Well, I think any decrease in violent crime is a good thing, whether somebody's playing around with the numbers like the city of St. Louis does, that's always something you should be asked about that. But that report also, that and the FBI criticizing, generally speaking, the media for not giving Kash Patel and the Trump administration credit saying that 200% more arrests may have had something to do with that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, former Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino, was calling out reporters on Fox's Hannity, saying, you know what? They're reporting on it, but they've never actually been in that situation.
Never arrested some child predator or some bank robber or some gang member. These morons don't know anything about the safety status of the country. The border's sealed. The military's never been stronger.
Okay, so the nationwide data rate for homicides is expected, when it's all said and done, to be around 4.0 per 100,000 residents. And that would be the lowest rate ever recorded in law enforcement or in public health data going back to the year 1900.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yep. So a lot of changes if that's actually what holds up, and it certainly looks like that's going to be the case. All right, the 10 Commandments back in court. The 10 Commandments. Yeah, here's the story from Town Hall.
The Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has heard arguments this week over whether Louisiana can require public schools to post the Decalogue in all classrooms. The ACLU and various atheist groups are challenging the Louisiana law, and most observers believe no matter what the Fifth Circuit decides, this case is going to the Supreme Court. Texas has a similar 10 Commandments law, and it also faces a legal challenge. Michael Harrington reporting.
Yeah, I think it's no question it's going to the Supreme Court. You know, here's the thing, and I grew up in church and everything. I don't get why this is the issue that so many politicians want to stake their flag on and die on. You know, I just don't get this issue. Listen, 10 Commandments, good thing. Teach your kids that. Why fight the battle of requiring it in the schools? I'm not saying it's a bad thing that they're in the schools. I just don't understand why this is the hill to die on.
Yeah, I don't get why they think that the public school teachers are qualified to properly teach the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, do you, like Oklahoma passed that law saying they're going to teach the Bible like as literature and that sort of thing? Yeah, okay, well, you can definitely look at the Bible as literature. Do you really want a left-wing teachers union member teaching your kid what the Bible is all about? No, you do not want a public school teacher doing that. Not that there aren't a couple of, probably good, proper Christian public school teachers out there. But do you really want the teachers unions being in charge of teaching your kids what the Bible is?
I would support it more if it was in the context of maybe like the history of the nation and the fundamentals and the values, or maybe philosophy or something like that. I think those types of teachers would probably have a lot more non-bias and more credibility in teaching it. But yeah, just forcing it into the schools and then expecting suddenly people are going to absorb it or not have it framed in a negative way, that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so were the monkeys on the loose in St. Louis or not? All right.
I believe.
I want to believe. Weeks after a city health department official confirmed to media at a press conference, confirmed a sighting of the monkeys, saying at least one was seen by a police officer. Well, the police department in St. Louis now tells reporters they can't confirm that. They're not saying it didn't happen. They're like, but we don't have any confirmation of it. One police official said the first time he heard about the supposed sighting was on the news because none of the officers reported it internally from what he can tell. So they're not saying it didn't happen. They're just saying is that guy confirmed something that we can't confirm. And weeks later, now we're going, well, were there monkeys or not?
I'm wondering if it was not maybe a intern or somebody looking for a news story fell for something. And then the person that confirmed it said, well, I saw that in the news, not knowing that they were.
But the guy it was a spokesperson for the city health department who confirmed it to the media that, yes, we have a confirmed sighting because a police officer reported seeing it. And the police department was like, well, not that we know of.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the city confirmed it, and now the city is kind of pseudo-unconfirming it.
So, that's quite the knuffle.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Blues road trip continues tonight in Dallas to play the Stars. Puck drops at 7 o'clock on that. Battlehawks are going to start the season at home. The first game of the 2026 campaign is against the D.C. Defenders at the Dome. That's going to be Saturday, March 28th at 11 a.m. That one's going to be on ESPN.
Ferguson in the morning.
They were drinking water out of the toilet.
On NewsTalkSTL.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link.
You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
At 420, we speak with Zach Smith from the Heritage Foundation. We'll talk about oral arguments in Trump's push to fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic and Ken. We're on every Monday through Friday on News Talk STL. Kenny, how are you?
I'm good.
You know, you got to be some kind of weirdo to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do radio.
You do, believe me.
And that weirdo is Mike Ferguson in the morning show on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh.
I recognize that bell strike.
It's iconic.
Oh,
I mean, how could you not?
You got to recognize that. Just saying here. All right, so let's pick up where we left off a second ago. Who's going to be that guy this weekend? And the funny part is we've all had the thought the weather is crap, especially when you're younger, and you're like, I can do it. I'll be fine.
Hold my beer.
We've all hold my beer. We've all done it, or we've all thought it, even if we haven't done it. But I'm even going to say back in my 20s, there were a couple times the weather's completely crap, and I'm like, you know what? I got to get something. I'll be fine. Of course, you hear about somebody else going off in the ditch. You're like, what are you, out of your mind? I'll be fine. Somebody out there is going to be that guy. And I don't mean to stereotype, but somebody's going to be that guy. It's going to be a guy. It's going to be a dude. It's going to be a dude who's going to do it.
Probably with expired temp license plates.
Well, that's a given, of course.
Yeah. And because in times like this, I sometimes try to imagine the historical world and the modern, like how we act now back then. And you knew that there were some pioneers. It's only 200 miles in the snow. We could totally cross that forward. I got this. I'll be back in a week.
That you know what? That ice on the river looks fine.
We can totally traverse this, guys.
That will be fine. Don't worry about it. I named this the Mississippi River. It's fine.
It's fine. We only lost half of our crew this time.
Right. Fewer mouths to feed. What are we? At least it wasn't dysentery. They went that. You know.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is one of those where I keep and it's funny because we're talking about the forecast itself and what to be ready for. It's the mindset. Because we heard about like some of those Facebook accounts that do kind of the civilian journalism stuff, like the New Real St. Louis and some of those. And the dude who runs that, I don't know who runs it, he just kind of goes through there and he's running this video, like a Facebook stream video. And there's been a run on these stores. All the bread's gone, empty shelves, empty. I'm like, guys, we're going to be back to normal probably by the end of Monday. Mm-hmm. It's just not that. This isn't the snowpocalypse of 2012 or whatever that was that we had that massive thing. We'll be fine. It's okay. It's not going to be ice. Just stay in and let the roads get cleared, and you're fine.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of assume people generally had like canned goods in the house to begin with, just in case sort of thing. But you don't have to prepare to avoid a Donner Party last second over something that's going to last just a few days, like a couple days.
And that's the funny part because, God, it's been a while since we talked about some of the prep stuff because we got all these different situations. For instance, hackers knock out the infrastructure. They knock out electricity. They knock out, the pipeline, a few years ago with the Colonial Pipeline. And so at one point we got into this really interesting discussion over what are you prepared for? And it's really easy to be able to prepare food and to keep it. And it's not that expensive, and to keep the dried and the packaged goods. I mean, I try not to eat that stuff too much. I eat very fresh, but I've got enough stuff that's like for camping. And let's say that the power went out and I have an electric stove. Let's say the power went out completely and I can't cook. Well, you know what? I've got my camping burner. I can cook something right there. It just doesn't take that much. You should be ready for any kind of winter storm. And if you don't have like the canned goods or the boxed goods or whatever the case is, literally take $25 or $30 and go to Aldi and you'll be fine. You can stock up and be okay for a week or two.
Don't tell them that now. I'm going to go to
Aldi's
now,
later.
Don't do it now, yeah.
I'm running by there too a little bit too, just to get a couple things because since I'm just gonna hang out Sunday and Monday or Sunday and Saturday, just like I'm gonna take it easy, kick back, maybe get an extra workout in, but I'm gonna make my good, tasty, protein packed breakfast that I'm gonna do. So I got to grab one thing for that. So I'll literally grab 2 or 3 things and go over there. But apparently there are people kind of rushing to the stores. There's no need to. I mean, there's really not. Be more concerned about you have enough blankets in case your power goes out. You can just wrap up a little bit. But for the most part, this isn't ice. This isn't wet snow. This isn't heavy. I'm not saying that there won't be any disruptions because of the really, really cold weather, but it's unlikely that any power is going out.
Yeah, and
I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but it's just unlikely.
When we had Chance on from KMOV, like it didn't even indicate that we were going to experience some kind of crazy whiteout, apocalyptic event. It just seems like, hey, make sure that keep an eye on your pipes, you keep an eye on your parts of your vehicle that are susceptible to the cold, wrap up and hang out.
That's another one too, is as you're heading back from work today, it wouldn't hurt to top off your gas tank. Like I'm right at a half a tank right now, so I'll top off the gas and then double check the air pressure because the air pressure may go down in your tires. So there'll be a lot of people Monday and Tuesday stopping by and getting their air topped off. You get in the car on Monday or Tuesday and you got that alert that says, low tire pressure. You're not going flat. That's just what happens in this ridiculously cold weather. It happens. No big deal.
And also check your antifreeze levels because I found this out from people that I've talked to and I've hung out with is that they don't realize it's not permanent.
Right.
You need to keep topping, especially this time of year. Mm-hmm. People might not be thinking about that. So if you're trying to start up your vehicle or you don't get it you don't have enough of that topped off in your vehicle, that can cause some really expensive repairs.
And the gas thing too, because what happens is some of those gas lines, especially in some of the older cars, if it's empty too much, that air in there when it gets really cold can actually, a little bit of moisture can freeze. It doesn't take much to freeze, it just blocks it up. Mm-hmm. And then what you don't want is some sort of like water presence, in the gas on there. So it's just as simple as, gas is super cheap right now anyway. So just top it off. You're fine. It's not a big deal, If you're running home, grab an extra treat. You're good. No big deal.
Yeah, this is like, it feels a lot in a way. It's not a panic-worthy event. This is just more of like, just do basic minimum things and you'll be absolutely fine. But I have seen people as well elsewhere that they seem to be very, afraid of it's like, come on.
Yeah, here's the thing is if you use common sense, you don't have to be afraid.
Great,
it's just that simple. If you use just a little bit of common sense, I talked to my mom the other day. She lives up in New Hampshire. And, of course, this storm system is hitting that entire part. This is literally covering 2/3 of the country geographically. And they're expecting over 20 inches of snow from this.
Wow.
We're going to get about 10 to 12. They're getting 20 plus. And I said, you going to be okay? She goes, well, I got my food. I got my TV. I'm fine. She's all right. She's got her Hallmark channel. She's good, So.
Yeah, it's 20 inches. I mean, we've had that happen. It wasn't as common necessarily where I was at in Illinois, but I've been very thankful that Missouri's winters, except for the bone-chilling cold, because that's going to be my thing is this morning I was trying to start my vehicle. I had that little stutter for a second. I was like, oh, that better not happen.
You start talking to your car, don't you dare.
Like, we have an agreement. I feed you gasoline. You get me from point A to point B. But I was thinking about that. It's like, sitting there in the blistering cold waiting for your vehicle to warm up is not going to feel good, but it's also not going to have to worry about being snowed in the process.
Okay, get this. Corporeal Being on Rumble, he says, there's no bread at Aldi. I went yesterday. Wow.
The monkeys got it.
The monkeys got it. Oh, my goodness. There's a happy middle between reckless and careless and overly panicking.
Mm-hmm.
We're somewhere off of that middle somewhere.
I just don't get it. Everything does not have to be a mass hysteria apocalyptic event.
I don't need bread, so I don't care. Don't take all the bell peppers. I just need 2 bell peppers. That's all I need, or 2 full bell peppers. Just leave everything else alone, okay?